Wendy Bell Radio is live.
Hey, what's going on? Good afternoon. Hello. How's everybody? We're getting some heat here in Southwestern land before time. How's everybody doing out there? Hi, Cher. What's going on, Tiedemann? Hey, Codger. Hi, Patriot. Chris in the house. Bill, Fred, Demanda. Good morning, sweetness.
We should ask them if they'd be interested in watching stuff like that.
Yeah, Brock and I were just having a conversation, and since we always include you guys in every single process, everything that we've ever spitballed has been spitballed at you, and you guys have given us good insight. But Brock brought up a really great point. This Spencer Pratt stuff that's going on in LA, and I don't think it's Spencer Pratt behind it. I think there is a grassroots, I'm fed up group of people who are using artificial intelligence in a really cool way.
Yes.
And Brock and I have been watching it, and you can tell it's working because now Hollywood's getting behind the socialist candidate. Karen Bass is getting stomped on, so they're going to dump her, and they're going to pretend this nobody Ramen, whatever her name is in the lead of the mayor's race, what have you. Xavier Becerra is leading in the governor's race, please. And so Brock's like, why don't we take what Toolsy does, my son Michael does, and he puts those little shorts together on Rumble, and then he puts it on Instagram and TikTok. What if we took those shorts and had AI create a video of them?
Well,
right?
And my whole thing was Jack is into
my son Jack is into film.
Why can't he put together a 3-minute storyboard, essentially, old school storyboard, and make that into, I don't know, I think it would be interesting, and no one else is doing it.
Total nepotism. I love it. Let's go. No, but it's true. And I think that we were talking about artificial intelligence, and I'll be honest with you, I have a very rudimentary knowledge of what AI can do. But I do know, in speaking with family members who are in business and what have you, that it's already wreaking havoc in some industries, just carving out people's jobs. And so you're either going to be riding the wave or you're going to get crunched by it. So Brock and I were talking, and we're like, well, we're kind of like the first people who did this. Radio, podcast, streaming, all of this together.
Most of them still haven't figured it out.
And so now a lot of people are trying it. Scott Jennings is trying it. He's good on television. I don't know if he's necessarily great on the radio, but
I think he's great on the radio because he's not interrupted. But like, what makes what we do different is we interact with you guys. We literally and nobody else is really doing that.
I want to know what you think. I want to know where you guys are. By the way, how cute, Carl Sparn. Why did you send me money for the twins for graduation? That was the cutest thing in the world. I got a check in the mail from him and sweet letters to the boys for graduation. I'm like, he's like grandpa. He's too young to be grandpa, but he's like grandpa. Carl, thank you.
I don't know. I'm not afraid of AI.
No, I want to learn it.
Well, look at the thumbnails.
Mm-hmm.
They're way more interesting than anything I could do.
Mm-hmm.
But even more so, what used to take 45 minutes, which would stress you out because I got to get him that title.
Yeah.
Because God forbid, if we don't put it out by a certain time, you guys
were like
bitching and moaning. And now I go, blah, 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 and I'm back to editing and talking about the show. And then I'm like, oh, it's done. How about this?
So like Demanda made us that song.
Yeah.
And I'd love to talk to her about exactly what she used to do that. But I think it would be very interesting to every day and not just have a short of a segment of this program. And I'm always interested what Michael thinks about.
Which is what makes Michael valuable.
Right. Because what he picks up on, I don't necessarily pick up on.
Because our software has AI in it. So I could say clip 8 clips. AI will go through and do that all. But will it hit? And that's the angle Michael brings that's
I'm
AI
watching
can't
it.
do.
I know. I have a vibe on things. And so he'll hit stuff and I'll be like, really? It would be like some rando thing that I said. And he's like, that. And I'm like, really?
And it hits.
And it hits. And I'm like, wow, I didn't. And then other things that I think are brilliant just are flops. And you're like, So it's constantly trial and error and spitballing and seeing what we can do as we try to take over the world. I mean, okay, so that's out.
No, I think it would be interesting. No one
too.
else is doing it. Like, I think it would be interesting to take what you say and make a short out of it. In not the short kind of way. We'll see.
I found a house in Tennessee I'd like to buy. It's 2 miles from campus.
How many acres?
That's not the question you should ask. We'll have to start working harder. It's only 2.9 million, so we'll have.
Well, there better be some acreage there for
a shed,
a barn dominium.
4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at me.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we're converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Hey!
Well, hello, America. Happy Monday to all of you, and welcome home to the Wendy Bell radio program. Common sense, conservative values, 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. How about it? It's just easy. It's low-cal. We're free, and we say to you every single day, we do not lie to you. We'll give you all of our stats, all of our sources, all of our soundbite time codes, everything you want. We've got it at your fingertips, and all you have to do is show up every single day. And I'm glad you do. So wendybellradio.com, if you're still new to the show and you want to follow the live video stream, please do. We have a lot of fun in the commercial breaks and so enjoy communicating with you and hearing what's going on in your world. Welcome home, everybody. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Well, I hope you guys had a great weekend. My husband Joe and I decided we were going to get in the car and head on the Pennsylvania Turnpike to spend, what is it now, $50 to get to Bedford, Pennsylvania? I have no idea. From Pittsburgh, it's expensive. And we like the ride, though. We drive on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, get off at Bedford, PA, about 90 miles. It's not that big of a lift. And there's a beautiful resort there. We like to go. We like to golf. It's totally overpriced, right? But it's just beautiful. And we had this great time, played some golf, had some nice meals, got some sleep, just relaxed, the two of us. Every now and again, you got to check out and do that. And so Sunday, we woke up really early, had to get back on the road because our twins played their last soccer game of their lives. It was the end of our soccer, sporting, everything. It's been a long 20 odd years, And so we're getting on the Pennsylvania Turnpike at Bedford to get back into Pittsburgh. And there's this big sign on the road up ahead, and it says MAGA. And I was like, all right, now we're talking. I love that. We're driving closer, and I was like, what does that say? What's that? And underneath it, it says, a national embarrassment. MAGA is a national embarrassment. I had to share this with you because I burst out laughing. I was surprised at how I responded. I laughed at it. It didn't make me angry. I wasn't offended by it. I wasn't like, who the heck? I was like, this is where people are in their effort to make you feel badly about loving America, about wanting America to be as extraordinary as it can be, for everybody to realize the dream that is what so many people would fight and die for here, to get into this country, our freedom, our everything. It's a national embarrassment. Making America great again to somebody is a national embarrassment. So I went online. I'm like, all right, who's behind this billboard? At Bedford, Pennsylvania Turnpike, MAGA, national embarrassment. And it comes back to me. It says, well, it doesn't look like there's somebody necessarily affiliated with it. Nobody's taking credit for paying for the billboard, but it did bounce me to this guy who back in February, the New York Post did a story on, and some guy who left the MAGA movement and he created his own organization called leavingmaga.org. And he was certainly upset about certain things about Donald Trump in 2022. 3 things he was upset about. This guy who was a big MAGA guy, and then he bailed, and he created this walk away movement, if you would. I have no idea how many people have joined him, if any. He was upset about 3 things. Number 1, he didn't like how President Trump pushed back on COVID. Well, you're going to be on the losing side of that, brother. So good luck with that. Number 2, he did not like how Donald Trump handled January 6th. He thought that was an insurrection and that Trump should have been basically impeached for that whole situation. And number 3, he's super upset about any claims about 2020 being stolen. Those 3 things, right? And so those 3 things, he was disgusted. This guy, I said, I'm going to leave the movement and I'm going to start something else, leavingmaga.org. It's the same idea of MAGA, a national embarrassment. Do you know how pathetic this part of the story is in the whole tale that is America? When there are people who want to shame you into loving the country, into supporting the president, and to having conservative values. They want to shame you for loving your family, for loving the unborn, for loving God. God forbid you love God. They want to shame you for appreciating sealed and secured borders. They think you're an embarrassment because you believe the millions of people who came across our border during Joe Biden's sleepy years as president, that we should get rid of those people. No matter what, they think you're a bad person because of that. They think you are an embarrassment because you believe that there's a difference between boys and girls. This is where we are. They want to shame you because you believe in science that is demonstrable, and you believe in exploration and learning about things out there that you don't know about, that you're not so quick to gobble up the narrative, that you are questioning, that you are doubting, but that inherently, if you are a Make America Great Again citizen of these United States, that you believe in your God-given gifts, your individualism, and your ability to make the best decisions for yourself and your family. And for that, you, my friends, are a national embarrassment. You know, if the left is trying to shame America into believing a story that doesn't hold water, it's really not working, because I want to tell you about something that happened over the weekend at a Chipotle restaurant in Washington, D.C. It's the Navy Yard Chipotle in Southeastern Washington, D.C., where families are with their children eating a burrito or a bowl of what have you. And then a bunch of young kids, teenagers, start beating the ever-living snot out of one another. And they take those wooden booster chairs that you would put a toddler in at the restaurant, and they start wailing each other with those. And they're throwing chairs and flipping tables and absolutely destroying the place as these parents are trying to keep their children safe. You want to know what a national embarrassment is? Bad parents. Jeanine Pirro, U.S. attorney for D.C., came out and said she's going to charge those teenagers' parents with whatever. I think it should be bad parenting, right? There's got to be something bigger than that. That is a national embarrassment, ladies and gentlemen, not this idea that America should always be great. not this idea that there's one person we all wanted and created the opportunity for because we didn't like the direction the country was headed. We didn't like all the DEI nonsense. We didn't believe in judging each other based on skin or based on sex or based on whatever victim status somebody wanted to claim. We didn't fall for that. We didn't believe that certain students should be big-footed out of opportunity because their skin wasn't dark enough or they didn't have the requisite plumbing for the idea du jour. We didn't fall for that. We saw January 6th for what it was. It was a smokescreen that was created to cover up a stolen election. And people who are on the wrong side of that, I'm sorry, but you're going to have a major frying pan to the face. The stuff is all going to come out. It all is coming out. And if you had common sense, you wouldn't need it to come out because none of it would make any sense whatsoever. The people who are a national embarrassment, in my mind, we've become weary of. I'm tired of you. I'm not mad at you, but I find your time has run its course. I find what you say a drone. I don't hear you anymore. Your fake outrage, your staged crowds on demand protest, the signs that are all made in back of cars, right? The bricks, pallets of them waiting just for the right opportunity for things to go haywire. I pity you because the road ahead of you is going to be long and it's going to be arduous. And you're going to have to someday, if you want to ever wake up and be in Realville, admit that you were duped, that you were conned, that you were too eager to buy a garbage narrative that a lot of us didn't fall for. Now, to whomever created the MAGA national embarrassment sign on the Pennsylvania Turnpike at Bedford, thank you. Because when I see that, I know we're winning. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, did you guys hear Tina Peters is getting out of prison? It's a big day. It's coming up next month. I'm going to give you all the specifics, the sound bites that'll make it all make sense. And you got to know, Trump pushed it. Ricky Schroeder, too, next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. MAGA's a national embarrassment. I mean, it was interesting, too, because on the way home, it's like early in the morning, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, wow, that's where we are. And so now Allegheny County, their Board of Elections is putting out all of these. This is where we are, Allegheny County in Pittsburgh, which is totally corrupt. It's corrupt as stones, and everybody knows it. And they're putting out guidance for poll workers and whatnot. So when ICE agents or federal agents come in to monitor election polling places, how to handle it. And it's like, wow, you're really getting ready for something, aren't you? What you getting ready for, Allegheny County? What you getting ready for? An onslaught. We'll see. We'll see. I want to tell you guys about the Simkovich Concussion Institute. I appreciate what Dr. Simkovich does. When you wake up every day and all you want to do is help people who've been bonked on the head, people who've fallen, who've gotten hurt in accidents, hurt at war, who have traumatic brain injuries, other people who just have terrible problems fighting headaches. Why? How can I get some peace? How can I fix this? Dr. Simkovich, he says, call, talk to us. You've got nothing to lose. And he does wonderful things in a very short amount of time. Less than a week, oftentimes. You're going to be healed. 412-366-3700. Write it down. Write it down because you might not need it now. Somebody is going to need it. 412-366-3700. Simkovich, concussioninstitute.com. The video inside that Chipotle is, it's a bunch of black kids. Is that why? I don't know. It just happened in this particular situation. I think a lot of the stuff that goes on in Market Square,
Yes,
where we live, you got a lot of youths coming in, causing problems. Where are your freaking parents?
Where are your parents? Because I'd cream my sons if they were anywhere near that.
And that's the thing. I don't want to hear that, well, my mom, well, I have to work 2 jobs, blah, blah, blah. You're home long enough to whoop some ass. And
called
before
consequences.
before that, if I'd acted like that, my parents would have
Forget about it.
Oh my, I wouldn't be standing here. And they would
100%.
probably be in jail. I always got the, don't embarrass us. Don't you dare embarrass us.
It's like that time the boys were screaming obscenities at at themselves in the backyard playing wiffle ball. And I was like, and I grabbed them both and was like, don't you ever.
And
they
you
were
scared
both
the shit out of the friends too.
And the friends were like, "Whoa." And I'm like,
Big Wendy's mad.
I'm still angry about that.
Yes,
if you
you
couldn't
are.
tell.
And that's
commuted Tina Peters' sentence, saying that he believes the election whistleblowers' free speech rights were violated. I don't really think that Jared Polis all of a sudden just had some come to Jesus moment and was like, you know what? I think that her freedom of speech has been trampled. I think we should review this. Dude got so much heat from President Trump, so much heat from anybody. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. So those of you who are unfamiliar with Tina Peters, she was part of the Mesa County, Colorado. She was a clerk there. She stumbled upon election fraud. And she also stumbled upon, if you will, Dominion voting systems officials coming into the county and going over the machines after the elections and wiping them clean. So there was no evidence. There was no paper trail. There was no evidence of anything that happened on the machines. And so she brought in a guy who had the clearance to be there, but she did it against whatever, county rules or whatever the bejeebers it was. And they were able to make a copy of whatever the hard drive was of this voting system. They were able to prove, Houston, we've got a problem here in Colorado. And for that, she was summarily arrested. She was tried. She was convicted and sentenced to what, 9 years in prison? So I want you to hear what President Trump said. This was December of 2025. He made it abundantly clear what he wanted to have happen with Tina Peters. He said, free her now. Let's refresh.
Our wonderful Tina to come out of a jail, in a high-intensity jail, because she caught people cheating on an election, and they said she was cheating. She wasn't cheating. She went over, she looked at one of the election scams going on, and because she did that, they put her in jail for 9 years. The governor of Colorado is a weak and pathetic man who was run by Tren de Aragua, the criminals from Venezuela, took over sections of Colorado, and he was afraid to do anything. But he puts Tina in jail for 9 years because she caught people cheating. And when she walked over and got involved in it, they said she was cheating. She wasn't cheating. She caught people cheating on the election, 2020, along with a lot of other people that cheated on that election. You'll see that coming out more and more.
Now to the dope who put up the MAGA, a national embarrassment sign on the Pennsylvania Turnpike at Bedford. You know what an embarrassment is? This ridiculous lawfare. These ridiculous charges, the sentences that are outlandish. That's embarrassing. That's un-American. That's wrong. Here's the governor of Colorado pretending all of a sudden, well, you know, we trampled on her free speech. You should be able to say what you want to say. And the judge, I think, really threw the hammer at her, really dropped the hammer at her because of some of the things that she said. I don't agree with that. Trump got on the horn with this guy and he's like, dude, you got to get her out. You got to do it now. Here's the governor of Colorado.
The only nonviolent offender that is on the commutation list. She was sentenced to almost 9 years in prison. And to be clear, she deserved to go to jail. She committed a crime. What's at issue here is how long the sentence is. And I agree with the appeals court that in the sentencing hearing, the judge incorrectly looked at and considered her bizarre viewpoints, her speech, and held her speech against her. She happens to be somebody that's espoused what I believe to be, what anybody objectively would believe to be incorrect opinions, conspiracies, etc. That is not a crime in our country. What is a crime is, along with 2 other co-conspirators, one got 6 months, one got parole only, accessed after a municipal election, election computers to download software for an independent audit prior to the software being updated. That is the crime. There were 4 felonies. Those felonies will stick with her. She's a convicted felon. And I believe that the 4.5 years that I'm commuting her sentence to, she'll be on parole along with a number of the other 9 next month, is a fair, just, and tough sentence for her crime.
Who the hell is this clown? This is the governor of the great state of Colorado who could not protect the citizens of Aurora outside of Denver from having their apartment complexes completely overrun by Trende Ragua gangbangers. That's not what's going on. And then Margaret, what's her face? Or who is it? Martha Raddatz, who's like, well, it's just one apartment building, Mr. Vice President. It's not like a big problem. And you're like, what? This guy is going to be the arbiter of what is right and wrong and just. Got it. I want you to hear Tina Peters' attorney, one of her attorneys, John Case. He says she was prosecuted after exposing deleted 2020 election records. I wonder if Jared Polis looked into that at all. Here's
Tina
John.
Peters was prosecuted because she brought a qualified witness into the room where the Secretary of State was erasing the election records of the 2020 election. They do this every 2 years on Dominion voting systems. The election happens in even numbered years, and the following spring, Dominion comes in with the Secretary of State and they erase all of the original digital records of the election. So they're gone. So the election can't be audited. And that is what Tina Peters found in 2021 when she brought in the qualified consultant who had federal security clearances.
All right, so they wiped the Dominion machines a year before they should have. I think federal law is 22 months. You have to keep all this stuff, all of the ballots, all of the, the chain of transfers of whatnot, the custody things. All of that's got to be saved for 22 months. They decided to bounce in a year and just it's gone. And Tina Peters saw it and she blew the whistle and they threw her in prison for 9 years. A woman is 73 years old fighting cancer. She blew the whistle. And Jared Polis is not interested in what she found. He was interested in silencing what she found. Why, Jared? Why, boo? Some you don't want us to know. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, Bill Cassidy, well, he kind of effed around. Then he found out. Senate stuff going on in Louisiana. MAGA, not an embarrassment. Next. Jared's like, we believe that she was prosecuted wrongly for her bizarre things that she says and her conspiracies. When was the last time that you heard a conspiracy theorist get it wrong? Honest to God.
Well,
honest to God.
That guy that put up the sign, his reasons for leaving did not age well.
Right? That, I don't even think that's his, but the guy, like he was asked about these billboards that he did not put up. But his own story was like, well, I was outraged over COVID, what Trump did with COVID. And it's like, really? You really? I'm not so sure you want to be upset with Trump about that. And then about January 6th in 2020. And it's like, you're on the wrong end of all of this. Sorry, dude. And some of the stuff that's coming out, like, if you're not down with the whole UFO alien thing, it's kind of time for you to start opening that door. You need to crank that for you. All right, I want to read something. I got the greatest blood flow 7. No, it was an alpha gold male. No. GLP-1. Hold on. Sorry. I'm all over the place.
No, you got them all in.
Okay, here we go. This is what she's talking about. This is Julie. Julie sent me a message about GLP-1 Gold by our friends at Juvenon.
And you get it by going to bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Remember, 30% when you go to that site. Everything there is discounted for the Wendy Bell Radio family. And I love their stuff. You know how I feel about it. I don't have to lose a lot of weight. This is their dramatic weight loss product. This is a supplement that you would take that slowly gobbles away at the weight. It just does. And it helps you with your cravings and with how much you eat. That's what it does. So anyway, this is what she writes. She says, hey, Wendy and Brock, I just had to stop by and send a quick message about Blood Flow 7's GLP-1 Gold. I first ordered it going on maybe 2 months ago. And this past Sunday, I looked at the clock and I saw it was 5 p.m. And then when I realized it was that late in the afternoon and I hadn't yet had my MCT wellness yet, this epiphany came over me. I was not ravenously hungry like I usually would be at that time of the day. It hit me further. It was the GLP-1 that was finally kicking in. I'd say it took about a month and a half to feel the effects of the Juvenon GLP-1 Gold, but I finally did. I'd been losing weight and then I hit a plateau. And when you started talking about GLP-1, I figured that I would give it a try. I already take Blood Flow 7, so why not? I hadn't gotten on the scale yet, but I can tell by how my clothes are fitting and how my reflection looks in the mirror. My weight loss has resumed. Thank you, Wendy, for recommending this wonderful product. I listen to you and Brock every day and will continue to do so for as long as you are on the air. God bless you. Please take care. That's Julie. She's a proud member, card-carrying member of the WBR Army. I love that. I love that. Thank you. And I like that I like that she's telling me, you got to give it a month and a half. Give it some time to take. Be consistent with these products. And if you're one of those plateauers who wants to lose a lot of weight and you've lost some, but now you're like right here, you're like, what do I have to do? I can't budge. It's so defeating. Don't be defeating. Don't be defeated. Just get another tool. GLP-1 Gold. I like what Juvenon does. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy.
Guess what I saw? I didn't talk to you all weekend.
I know.
And I forgot to tell you this morning.
Oh, gosh.
Not that this is to step on any sponsors' toes. I saw a Chuck Juice advertisement.
Wow.
That even though Chuck from the grave is taking care of people, I saw it was like, hell yeah, Chuck.
Even in death, Chuck Norris kicks ass.
Yeah, right? Like, yeah, I'd still believe Chuck. He dead? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I don't want him to visit me, right? Along with the aliens that are coming. Some of this stuff is wild. Very wild. If you've been paying attention.
I'm very interested in it. And I'm like, I told you this morning. And this is not all the people who say God created man, right? Like, I agree. I am a faithful person. I believe that
100%.
But if I think I'm the best that God could create, I'm also pretty realistic about this stuff.
I think so maybe we'll do it during a Weekends with Wendy show where we'll play the video of the guy relaying the fellow in the cockpit who blacked out and his plane took off and went up and then he just zonked out. And apparently there was a voice that was coming through him, being channeled through him. And it was apparently an alien who was trying to warn through the voice of this pilot that we were on the brink of extinction, that we were going to nuke each other out of oblivion. And if we didn't get our heads out of our butts and knock it off with the nuclear mumbo jumbo, there would be no civilization on Earth. And it was like what? And then and this was like decades ago, right? And then you think about what Trump did with Iran and the nuke and all of this stuff. And like, I could see little pieces of the puzzle coming together. Like, I get it. If they got a nuclear weapon, they would have bombed Israel in like 4 seconds. And then we'd be next. It's a wild story. Maybe we'll post it somewhere for you guys. It's kind of crazy.
Hey, yeah, you know what? You're not wrong. Maybe I am God's way of having a sense of humor.
I think you do just fine, Brock.
I'm all about it.
You're doing just fine.
weren't here this morning.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. Hey, remember, we're almost on the doorstep of 8 million podcast downloads. If you haven't gotten our podcast, Wendy Bell Radio, wherever you get your favorite listening material. And thank you for being a part of our family. We so appreciate you. So it wasn't a good day in Louisiana for Bill Cassidy. Like I said, he effed around, he found out. It's funny, too, because the guy, one of 7 Republican senators who voted the second time for President Trump's impeachment. Very interesting to see what MAGA showed up and did. See, that wasn't President Trump squeezing Bill Cassidy out. That was a bunch of people, a national embarrassment, right? MAGA is, that's what we've been told, that big billboard. That national embarrassment has a lot of sway and a lot of swagger. And they're like, Bill Cassidy, we don't like you. We don't like you. We don't like John Thune. We don't like Thomas Massey. We don't like Mitt Romney. We like people who are like us, who are unwavering, unflinching, cannot be bought, sold, bribed, made malleable, if you will, who stand up for the values that we believe in. And who else to weigh in on this? Because Bill Cassidy lost his primary. He got the squeeze play. He came in third. And so now it's going to be a runoff between the top 2 Republican challengers. We'll see what happens. It's coming up in later next month. But I had to read you this from thehill.com. Mitt Romney calls Cassidy's defeat a loss for the country, which translation means that was a good thing, right? That was a good thing. We carved one more person who pretends to be like we are, to care about America the way we do. Carved him out of it. Bye-bye. Good luck. Former Senator Mitt Romney on Sunday described Senator Bill Cassidy's defeat in the Louisiana Republican primary Saturday as, quote, a loss for the country. Hey, Mitt, nobody cares what you think, which is the funny part, which is why I'm reading this. Cassidy lost the race in the state's closed primary following years of disagreement with President Trump after Cassidy voted to convict him for the January 6, 2021 Capitol attack. You know, and the funny thing is about that, how on earth was that even remotely President Trump's fault? Honest to goodness. The guy came out and he put immediately on Twitter, like within an hour, he's like, you guys, go home. Go home. Do not fight back. Do not put anybody in law enforcement in any danger. This is not who we are. Go home. And Twitter took it down, right? They took it down. And then what did they do? Then you have to bring out a whole laundry list of fake witnesses, people like Michael Fanone, the Capitol police officer, the guy who became the poster child of all of that on January 6th. We got some news about him coming up later in the show, too. Who else? All these people coming out, pretending. Cassidy Hutchinson, he lunged for the steering wheel. And then she goes back and changes her testimony. And now she's possibly under indictment soon. I mean, it's great. It's great. But Mitt Romney, no, Bill Cassidy. He's a super duper guy. Cassidy lost the race in the state's closed primary following years of disagreement. The Senate is now to lose an exceptionally brilliant and creative mind, an MD who chairs healthcare, and a person of character, Romney said on the social platform X. Right? Referring to Cassidy's degree as a medical doctor, Bill Cassidy's departure is a loss for the country. Trump endorsed Representative Julia Letlow. She's a Louisiana Treasurer John Fleming. They were the 2 top vote getters Saturday, edging out Cassidy in the toughest race since he first won in 2014. Neither Fleming nor Letlow scored at least half of the vote to avoid a June 27th runoff. So that's where it's going. This is such a stunning slap in the face, yet completely predictable. And I would have been stunned if it didn't happen, right? So now the left is going to come out and say, Donald Trump, if you don't agree with Donald Trump, he's going to destroy you. No, see, again, they don't understand you. They don't understand you. Because it's because of you because of that these changes are being made, right? We're not clone troopers following what Trump says. We created Trump. He's doing what we ask. We are voting the way we feel is best for the country. And what we feel is best for the country is that we have the strongest, most conservatively aligned Republican Party in the history of this country. And whatever the hell everybody else does, that's on them, because I don't care. We have to keep those majorities. We have to keep winning. And that means carving out Thomas Massie next. Let's hear about this, though. Let's hear this NBC report. This is the Harry Enton of NBC. You guys remember this fellow. His name is Steve Kornacki. And he's reporting on these results as they're coming in on Saturday. Like, holy smokes. Here's a two-term senator getting the axe. This doesn't happen. Once you fail upwards into the Senate or into the House, it's pretty well in the bag for you unless you seriously fudge it up. Here's Steve Kornacki. You're like, what? Listen.
It's official. NBC News has now declared that the second spot in the June 27th Republican Senate runoff in Louisiana will go to State Treasurer John Fleming. So the runoff now is set. Congresswoman Julia Letlow, State Treasurer John Fleming, and that means that Senator Bill Cassidy, two-term Republican incumbent senator who voted to convict Donald Trump in his second impeachment trial in January of 2021, has been defeated. He will be denied renomination, and he will become the first sitting Republican senator, elected Republican senator since 2012, to lose a primary, to be denied renomination by his party. Again, Letlow clearly leading here tonight. Fleming, though, now safely, securely in second place here. Cassidy in third. The runoff set for June 27th.
He's flabbergasted. So this is what the president said. His response: Bill Cassidy, after falsely using his relationship with me during his political career and winning elections because of it, voted to impeach me on preposterous charges that were fake then and now are criminally insane. Think about that. Criminally insane. You have to have something wrong with you if you still fall for the January 6th garbage. He said further, Cassidy's disloyalty to the man who got him elected is now a part of legend. And it's nice to see that his political career is over. I'd like to thank the great people of the state of Louisiana. And this big victory will only make me work even harder for your success and all that comes with it. I love you all. Make America great again. President Donald J. Trump. Right? So here's Bill Cassidy, the former senator, soon to be, giving his concession speech. And listen closely because he can't resist a departing dig.
This was not the result that I necessarily wanted, but I feel great. When you participate in democracy, sometimes it doesn't turn out the way you want it to. But you don't pout, you don't whine, you don't claim the election was stolen, you don't find a reason why. You don't manufacture some excuse. You thank the voters for the privilege of representing the state or the country for as long as you've had that privilege.
Dude is an MD, okay? I live with an MD. Smart people, usually, right? That Bill Cassidy could not see 2020 or January 6th for what it was means you are no longer worthy of the Republican word after your name. Bye-bye. I have no worries about that. That's what this is. Now, Margaret Brennan over at CBS, she brings on the biggest rhino from the state of Pennsylvania, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, this abject loser named Brian Fitzpatrick. Whatever district he serves, do better, okay? Do better. Because this guy is a klutz and a clown. And this is who Margaret Brennan brings on. And she's like, is this the message to voters after watching Senator Cassidy get creamed that Trump demands complete fealty? Let's listen to what he says.
We just saw what happened overnight down in Louisiana where Senator Bill Cassidy lost in this three-way primary. The president himself, the leader of your party who wanted this redistricting, has also been directly involved in some of these primary races, picking candidates. He came out hard against Cassidy. He's also now focusing in on Congressman Thomas Massie of Kentucky, who has taken votes in opposition to the president, including for the release of the Epstein files. I mean, is the message here for Republicans that if you dissent from the president, he's going to take you down?
Margaret, you just don't understand, sweet lumps. You're just not paying attention. You're in this bubble of whatever the hell suck you're in. And it's all bad. Trump bad, MAGA bad, conservatives bad. It's all the good stuff that the Democrats did when they were in charge, right? We like those people better. Trump is a tyrant. He's a dictator. He's a king. And it's like, Margaret, you don't understand. It's MAGA who did this, not Donald Trump. He could put out stuff all day long. If people don't believe in where they want the country to go, it doesn't happen. Now, here's the hack, rhino, whatever, Brian Fitzpatrick from Pennsylvania. And he's like, look, the real problem is that our primary system excludes independent voters who would probably vote Democrat more than Republican. This guy is a Democrat wearing Republicans' clothing. Listen.
Well, it's one of the many reasons, Margaret, why we need to open primaries up in all 50 states. Another cause that Tom and I are behind. Over half the states in this country have closed primaries, meaning that if you're a registered independent, you are excluded from voting in 50% of elections. And let's just put this in a context. You could be a 98-year-old World War II veteran who stormed the beaches of Normandy, saved civilization, who registers independent in the land of independence, which we're celebrating 250 years of, and in half of the states of this country, including, unfortunately, our home state here in Pennsylvania, if you register independent, you're told you're not welcome to vote in half of elections. That is insane. And not only is it an injustice, Margaret, it has a terrible corrosive effect on the floor of the House. Tom and I see it all the time. We call it the vote no, hope yes crowd. They go to the House floor wanting to support a policy, knowing that policy is the right thing to do, but because they live in a closed primary state and 18% of Americans vote in primaries, they're going to the House floor thinking about 18% of their electorate instead of 100% of their electorate. So closed primaries coupled with gerrymandering, your previous question, are really, really hurting our country. They're causing gridlock on the House floor.
What's really, really hurting our country is people pretending to be one thing and voting or behaving in a completely contrary fashion. That would be you, Bri. And by the way, you look very, very peaked. Are you okay? You need to get some sunshine, sweetie bug. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, by the way, Donald Trump wrote something about Thomas Massie and Lauren Boebert. We'll fill you in on that. Unraveling what the deep state has lied to us about for decades. The UN climate change goofballs. They come out and they're like, you know what? Okay, you got us. Yeah, we were wrong. No duh. Next. Jack wagons. Shocker. Whoosh. Breaking news alert. Whoosh. And by the way, Brian Fitzpatrick projecting some kind of woe for independent voters clearly means that's where the Democrats are going to try to dig up. They're going to try to dig up some traction. We're going to try to glom onto these people because we did it with black people for a while and they got smart and then they don't like us very much anymore, right? And then we did it with the illegals, but they're being deported. And quite frankly, they're usually quite conservative. If you think about Hispanics in particular, Catholic, conservative. Yeah, that's not working out either. We can only generate so many fake people. Now they're cleaning up the voter rolls. Damn it. What are we going to do? We're going to trot out a Republican to make it sound like independent voters need to be able to do this or that. Well, it's kind of late in the game for that, Bri. Brock, you're an independent.
Yes.
We won't hold it against you.
What's that?
I said I won't hold it against you. Tulip Blooms, tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. All right. Hold on. Let's get out something else. I literally hide this stuff here. This is going to be one of the best things that I use, and I use it from here to my hips, just all front and back. This castor blend serum from Tulip Blooms. Let me hold it up and see if it'll. That's what it looks like. Smile blend, castor blend. Okay. So put a couple pumps in your hand, get it nice and warmed up.
all around your midsection. And I'm going to tell you something. It feels phenomenal. Your skin is uber soft, and there's wonderful healing properties about castor oil. You're like, castor oil, isn't that thick? Yeah, it is. And it goes through quite a process to make it into this bottle here. Absolutely beautiful product from Tulip Blooms. I love their line of stuff. I use it exclusively. I think it's absolutely fantastic. You can get our discount by going to tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. And again, the massaging oils, if you get dry elbows, dry heels, dry cuticles, dry whatever, a pump of this, rub it in, let it absorb, takes like 5 minutes, maybe. And then it goes like the greasiness goes away. And you'll look down at your hands and you'll be like, oh my gosh, I look like I got a manicure. Bingo. Tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. Their products are treat yourself. When's the last time you treated yourself? And with summer coming, you're going to be showing off your skin. You want it to look fabulous. There you go. I love it. Did I give you a castor?
No.
No. That sucks. Oh, Thomas Massey.
No, I did not get a bed, by the
boo.
way. Someone asked if I got a bed. No, I looked at mine. I took the air filtration mattress topper off of it. It did not have any, so no.
Oh, so you're good.
For the part that, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I did not get under the bed to where the lines are that go into the bed, but the air mattress, the air cooling and heating, I just took it off. I'm not even risking it.
Yeah, I don't know how those things function, so that's interesting to me.
Well, you set the temperature and it heats and cools.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. I didn't realize that's what it did. Can we hit 2,400 rumbles to go? To hit 2,000 in the first hour, that's taking it, swinging it out of the park, baby. Hitting it out of the park. So I'm going to say that Thomas Massey right now is a little sphinctered up. This is the headline at Breitbart right now. Trump to Kentucky on Massey. Vote the bum out. Wow, that's not mincing words there, Mr. President. President Trump calling for Kentucky residents to vote Thomas Massey, their representative, out of office on Tuesday, labeling him a bum and as being a true negative force. In a post on Truth Social Sunday, Trump pointed out that Massey voted against tax cuts and the border wall, describing him as being the worst Republican congressman in history. Voted against all of this. He voted against our military, our law enforcement. Actually, he voted against almost everything that is good. The worst Republican congressman in history. Kentucky, vote the bum out on Tuesday. We can't live with this troublemaker for another 2 years. He is a true negative force. And then beyond that, Lauren Boebert, the representative from Colorado, who's friends with Massey, she went to go, I guess, campaign with him. They had like 17 people out. And I was like, oh, that's ugly. And Trump apparently went after her and said, you know what? Anybody who wants to maybe get into the primary, I'll pull my endorsement of her and I'll back you instead. Look, this isn't a matter of fealty. This isn't a matter of some kind of extreme necessary requisite loyalty. It's called common sense. You're either for what is good, because we see what's good. We understand what's good. We understand what's bad. The UN climate alarmists, wackos, they are bad. And you know that they're bad. If you've got to change everything about what you do so that you're considered a worthy member of society, according to these wacky environmentalists, and then they come out and they're like, yeah, you know, about some of our predictions, they were wrong. No duh. Good riddance. President Trump says the United Nations lead climate committee admits projections were wrong. Really? I mean, right? Aren't you so 5 years ago
with this 10 years ago? I mean, how long have they been talking about? Al Gore has been trying to fear-monger the fatter he's gotten. How's that working for you there, Al, baby? President Trump criticized Democrats Saturday for pushing climate change fears. Instead, the United Nations leading climate committee admitted its projections were off the mark. Off the mark? Weren't there some predictions that we were going to all be walking around with gas masks? We're going to all have to wear
we
gas
were supposed
masks.
to be dead by now.
Right?
And underwater. Florida was underwater.
Right? In a post on his Truth Social account, Trump wrote, "Good riddance after 15 years of Democrats promising that climate change is just going to destroy the planet. The United Nations top climate committee just admitted that its own projections were wrong. For far too long, climate activism has been used by Democrats to scare Americans, push horrible energy policies, and fund billions into their bogus research programs. Unlike them, who use climate alarmism nonsense to push their Green New scam, my administration will always be based on truth, science, and fact." President Donald J. Trump, he said. Okay, what would you not get behind there? Oh, I don't like that he calls them Democrats. I don't care. I don't care what he calls them. He's right. They are wrong. We are right. They are wrong. This is it, guys. It's not left versus right. It's right versus wrong. And what's it going to take? What's it going to take for the people who are walking around with 2 masks on and they've got like those purple gloves and like a thing of hand sanitizer, like in a holster? I'm clean, right? What's it going to take? How big of the big frying pan is it going to take to hit you in the face for you to be like, boing? Oh, gosh, what happened to me? Where have I been? Hypnotized, deluded. You've been buying a bogus bill of goods for I don't know how long. And now look what you've done. You've normalized dudes pretending to be girls so they can compete against America's daughters. You guys are out there talking about full-term abortion. I mean, for the love of all that is holy, give me one Democrat policy that doesn't suck. One. Climate alarmism. Look, anybody out there with half of a brain realizes that we're on this planet together. We've got to do things together. And that means everybody has a role. I'm not out there littering. I'm not polluting. I'm not being crazy. But please spare us the drama that only in America, where we represent something like 4% of the population, right? That only American people are responsible for some weird uptick. When I searched, and it seems like the polar ice caps, in fact, aren't really melting that fast, about that. Enough is enough. Anything that's extraordinary and extreme and extra, it catches our attention, Democrats. It catches our attention. So the fellow who put up MAGA national, see, your brainwashed mind is a national embarrassment. When we come back, hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell radio program, my goodness. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche says there is tons of evidence that 2020 was stolen. Say what? Next. Oh, we were wrong.
Oopsie.
Oh, wait, you were wrong about COVID? You were wrong about the vaccine too? Is that right? How's that working for everybody?
Let's start with the list of what you were right about.
I was with family members over the weekend, and one has suffered a really debilitating vision loss in one of his eyes. And another one of the family members said, damn shots. And nobody said anything pushing back. And I was like, really? Interesting. Sucky. Nobody should be injured. Nobody should have died. God, wake up, Democrats. Ugh. Anyway, so Maria Bartiromo, she had, I don't know. She was fit to be tied yesterday, it seemed. She was not taking platitudes.
She was thinking like you. Tired. Stop talking.
We've been on this for a long time now. We all know what's going on. Let's get some action. Let's get some stuff done. Well, these take time. Whew. The speed of government is it's tragic. And if you lived your life like that, you'd be like, no way. Yes way to diversification. So, if you think your money doesn't seem to go as far today as it used to, you're absolutely right. And if you seriously worry about this crazy shift in some capacity to digital currency, like what happens to our cash, that's why we're seeing an unprecedented need for an alternative store of value. And for Joe and me, it's gold and silver. That's what we decided to do. So if you go to wendylovesgold.com, wendylovesgold.com, you can learn how you can protect you and your family from inflation, and it's still bad, by diversifying with gold. And if you have, unlike a traditional IRA or 401k, which typically limit investments to stocks and to bonds and to mutual funds, a precious metal or IRA offers a way to diversify your retirement savings with tangible assets. I mean, you can hold them in your hand. You've seen me bring my coins in, and they're beautiful, right? And so estimates are varied. You should have between 10 and 20%, maybe. Some experts say in gold and silver, maybe that's too high for a lot of people. But if you want to get the conversation started, I use Texas Bullion Exchange. WendyLovesGold.com, 855-927-5557. They are wonderful. They are helpful. They're no pressure. They're very educational and informative, and they tell you the truth. Plus, if you get a principal protection protected portfolio from Texas Bullion Exchange, that means you're never going to sell it, your gold or silver, for less than you bought it. They're going to give you 6% free silver. They're going to give you 6% in free silver. What? Yeah. WendyLovesGold.com. Love them. Ask about that. Well, apparently it's gardening day outside. You guys hear that?
Cut the tree down.
Yeah, it sounds like it's crazy. What is he doing?
I can't see anything.
Yeah. It's just uber loud. Oh my God, this hair is crazy. How ready are you for a haircut? Thursday. Thank God. Need it. So Thomas Massey, Trump is like, get him out. Lauren Boebert, she had a classy response to the president's truth. She's like, look, I stood up with my friend. I stood up for my friend, and I believe in my friend. And I'm still make America great again, 100%. And she just said, onward. The president will do what the president needs to do. But I know who I am. I know what I believe. And I stood up for my friend, Thomas Massey. Okay. That's great. But we'll see what voters think. We'll see what Kentucky thinks. Let's see about you guys. 4,700. Okay. So we need 230 people to hit that little thumbs up button before we get back. You can do it. Because then that gives us 2 hours to get an extra 1,000, which is great. We haven't hit 3,000 in forever. It's like, So we're going to try, I think we're going to try using some AI and start using more of it, right? Because we're not going to replace me. We're not going to replace Brock, but there are a lot of jobs out there that are in danger of being replaced. And Brock and I have both spoken about it. We're like, well, how can we be on that crest of that wave and do things that nobody else is doing? And if you have ideas, let me know. Let me know. Shoot me a comment here or email me at wendybellradio@gmail.com. I think, and to Brock's credit, he is extraordinarily forward thinking. He's always thinking outside of the box. And I love when he, boils down what he does to pushing buttons. It's extraordinary outside of the box thinking and just being on top of it, which I appreciate. It's because I'm sitting there slobbering at the last soccer game of my life. Literally, like, it was ridiculous. And then Chris came up to me afterwards and he goes, here we go. I knew the waterworks were going to open up. And I was like, oh, God.
What were you talking about? What were you talking about?
I was talking about just how you had brought up when we were talking about AI, and it's like, I don't understand a lot of it, but I'd love to learn more. And I think there's a great way to include 2 of my sons in there. I think having a 28 Gen Z perspective on stuff is like, I see them, and that's why I have great encouragement for our country. And I will say it's because of the young men. I mean, I don't oscillate in the world of girls, so I can't really speak to that. But from what I've seen in limited environments, the boys have it going on. The girls are adrift at sea. They have bought into this liberal garbage mindset, and it starts early, gets pounded in at school. And then if you go away to college, 95% chance your college is liberal and you're going to get it drilled home even more. Then you come home with that mentality. I don't know why some people fall for it and some people don't. It's interesting, but it's sad. We'll see. Hey, let's go. You're getting so close to 2. Thank you. 150 to go. That's outstanding. Thank you very much.
Three, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
We're going to win so much. We're going to win at every level. We're going to win economically. We're going to win with the economy. We're going to win with military. We're going to win with healthcare and for our veterans. We're going to win with every single facet. We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
3 hours of gold, truth, and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
You know, I think Maria Bartiromo has kind of had enough, right? Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. Hour number 2 is live and on the clock. Remember, wendybellradio.com if you want to join the live video stream and chat. Love having conversations with you guys. In the commercial breaks, thank you for being there. So Maria Bartiromo, you know, she's kind of like we are. She's been on this, right? She's been following what's been happening in this country. She sees with the clarity that you and I have. You know, you can tell what is right, what is wrong, what is crazy, what is reasonable. You can see people who are afraid covering things up. You've detected the smoke screens. You can see things at 30,000 feet. You are ahead of the game. And the problem is, like, I can listen faster than you can talk. Let's go. We want change, right? And if you've been aware of all of this since go, it's super, super annoying, this slow walk of law and order. It's like, God, unless, of course, you're a January 6er, in which case you're just thrown away, you know, very quickly. Threat to democracy. Bye-bye, right? So here's Maria Bartiromo over the weekend. She's got acting Attorney General Todd Blanche on, and she's like, look, my man, you've said, Donald Trump has said, the president has said again and again, 2020, the election was the furthest from safe and secure. It was rigged. So do you have proof? Listen to the question and the answer. It's very interesting.
She just said that we're going to find out that President Trump actually did win certain states in the 2020 election. Now, the president says all the time that the election was rigged. What have you done about that? Do you have any evidence that the election was rigged? What can you tell us?
Well, there's a ton of evidence that the election was rigged. That's not something the DOJ needs to tell you about. There's been evidence about that for many, many years. What I can tell you is that we have multiple investigations going on in Arizona, in Georgia, in Fulton County, Georgia, and that's exactly what we're looking at. By the way, this is very difficult because they're very good. they're very good at hiding up misconduct and hiding what they're doing. And so that's why we're very focused on finding out whether the right people voted, whether people who were supposed to vote voted, whether there was one vote cast per voter. And that's what we're doing in multiple states. And I expect, and again, people, you'll say to me, how long is it taking? Why is it taking so long? And the reality, the answer to that is because it takes a lot of work to uncover what happened in 2020. It takes a lot of old, good old-fashioned law enforcement police work, which is what we're doing, and we have great prosecutors working on it as well. And I expect that, and I assure you, I assure the American people that as soon as we have something to say for it, whether it's charges, whether it's a report, whether it's the results of an investigation, the American people will learn about what we've uncovered.
You know, what's interesting, and the Biden crime family syndicate is a perfect example of what Democrats do. They took millions of dollars, 30 million from all these foreign governments, right, for Joe Biden and his family. And in order to shield those from the banks, right, they chunked them up into littler pieces and spread them out across multiple family members, thinking, of course, that the paper trail would be so dizzying. Like, no, well, what does it take? Like, do I have to know code to figure this out? It's like madness. And of course, the beautiful thing is common sense shows you exactly what's going on. And so they can try to deflect, and you know exactly what's happening. January 6th, you guys remember the name Michael Fanone. He's that tatted up Capitol police officer who basically the left, the deep state, made into their darling of insurrection. He was beaten. His heart stopped. He had a heart attack. He was tased. All this stuff. It was a fight for my life. Like, I don't know if I was going to get out of there. This is so crazy. And then you're like, yeah, about that. Let's check out your body camera. Let's see what's going on with your body camera. Well, apparently the body camera video is now out. And so I'm going to give you a little refresher course of this turd, Michael Fanone. He's who the January 6th Unselect Committee trotted out, among many other witnesses, and then, of course, destroyed all of the evidence, kind of like Dominion in Colorado, where Tina Peters was like, hey, they're destroying stuff. And they're like, no, throw her in prison. Oh, God, it's so like January 6th, they're thrown in prison. Anyway, I digress. This is the cat who says he was dragged out by a violent mob, but his own body camera, his own body footage or body cam footage shows the January 6th crowd was not, in fact, dragging him out. In fact, they used a different police officer, a guy by the name of B.A. Miller, and they kind of took Michael Fanone, Officer Fanone, and this other Officer Miller, and they mushed them into they switched their roles. So Michael Fanone was like, I should have worn a gas mask. I didn't know it's going to be so awful. And then the video they show, allegedly of Michael Fanone being beaten by protesters, is of actually Officer Miller, who is wearing his face mask and his shield against the gas, right? So all these things are coming out with his body cam footage. The crowd yells in the footage that we see, not kill him, down with the cops, get the pigs, none of that. They're like, don't hurt him. Do not hurt a cop. Do not hurt him. The crowd, the January 6th insurrectionists are heard on this footage saying, don't hurt him. Now, all of this is so preposterous, but I want you to hear two snippets extracted from Officer Fanone's body cam footage, because he created this illusion that it was an insurrection. These were violent mobsters. They were there to overthrow the government. They were there for blood, and they would kill. They didn't care. They were going to kill anybody. It's crazy. And then, of course, everything that you see is completely opposite of that. In this first snippet of body cam footage, how the left created this hero, Michael Fanone, to smoke screen their smoke screen, which was to hide, this whole insurrection idea was to hide the theft of the 2020 election, to push the narrative of a violent insurrection with Officer Fanone as its poster child. Unfortunately, the video they wanted to play of him isn't this Officer Fanone. Listen.
Create a hero. Make him the face of January 6th. Put him on every news network. Have him testify to Congress. Beaten unconscious. Heart attack.
Triggering a heart attack.
Tased repeatedly.
And they tased him.
But what if the story doesn't add up? What if the media's perfect martyr is a composite? Meet Officer Michael Fanone and meet Officer B.A. Miller. Watch closely. The media swapped their stories.
At one point I got tased. People were yelling at me, got one.
Let's decode the deception. First, the stairs. Fanone claims he was dragged into a violent mob, but when asked for details, it's a blur. A blur? How convenient. Fanone said, I should have brought my mask. But wait. Freeze the frame. Enhance it. Fanone didn't have a mask.
Realized I probably should have brought my gas mask.
Officer Miller did. Who are you really watching on the news? Conflate the officers, sell the narrative.
Conflate the officers, sell the narrative, trot him out on every single network, give him a New York Times best-selling book deal as added financial incentive, and a preemptive presidential pardon. Why would Joe Biden give Michael Fanone a preemptive pardon? That makes no sense. The second part of this video, there's so many things that Fanone said under oath in his testimony before Congress and all across that media tour that are not supported by his own footage. Listen.
Never mentioned a taser to the medics. Never mentioned a taser to his fellow cops. Claimed he was knocked out for 4 minutes. But the tape keeps rolling. The injuries, not there. The mask, didn't have one. The deadly mob, they carried him to safety. Take a story, mix 2 cops together, ignore the body cam, hide the medic footage, sell it to Congress, sell it to America. Perjury on display. The Fanone-Miller deception decoded.
It's absolutely phenomenally eye-opening. And anybody who had half of a brain and paid attention to this klutz, who saw photos of him kissing Nancy Pelosi before January 6th, he was trotted out by these people. He's as bad as the other guy who said, the black guy, what was his name? Harry Dunn, who said that the MAGA people were calling him the N-word. And yet it was so wild. Nancy Pelosi wanted to put something like 41,000 hours of cell phone video and other recordings from 1,700 closed circuit cameras in and around this the Capitol complex. She wanted to put it on a shelf for 50 years, right? Out there with the lost ark, right? We're going to put it back here in this warehouse. What are you hiding? What don't you want us to know? They weren't calling anybody an N-word. They weren't trying to beat up the police officers. We're trying to get them out of there, trying to get them to safety. And the people who created the instability were undercover assets of the freaking Federal Bureau of Investigation. Period. And everybody who's been paying attention knows it. So to the fellow who understands the MAGA, a national embarrassment billboard that we talked about in the first hour. Yeah, what's embarrassing is stealing an election and then setting up fellow citizens to take the fall for it so you could have a smoke screen to run cover. That's an embarrassment. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, a new Spencer Pratt ad just dropped, and it is a baller. Next. So, and what's frustrating for me is what Maria Bartiromo is frustrated by with Todd Blanche. Now, has Todd Blanche been the guy in charge of all of these investigations? No, he's been there for like 2 months in this capacity. But we're tired. I'm tired of the bullcrap narrative. I'm tired of people like Fanone and Cassidy Hutchinson and Harry Dunn and others from making money off of a fictitious story that cost Matt Perna his life. That's what makes me angry. It's so farcical. What?
Anderson Cooper is officially left 16 minutes.
Oh, shocker. I guess Bari Weiss is cleaning up there. Get away, dude. You suck. Shocker. There's also, I saw something over the weekend, a list of all of these media hacks
who were part of the whole deep state ploy to take down Trump with Russian collusion and all that stuff. And it's like everybody you would expect, all the names that you would expect. And you're like, whoa, Savannah Guthrie, shocker. Oh, Nicole Wallace or Rachel Maddow, ooh, shocker. All these people, David Muir, what? Kristen Welker. Like, I mean, it exposed these last several years sure have exposed a lot, haven't they? All right, let's see. What do we want to talk about? How about health revolution? Health revolution is something I think is so important. And this is, again, one of those things that if you have a computer open or you have a browser open or you just have a pen and paper, jot down this information. Jot down the phone number, 800-868-6187. 800-868-6187. info.healthrevolution.net. You do not have to have a horrible Obamacare health insurance policy. You don't have to have outrageous copays and a deductible that makes it not even worthwhile for you to go to the doctor. Basically, they freeze you out of going to the doctor because you can't afford it. It's completely unaffordable. Thanks, Barack. You suck. Health Revolution says this. Why don't you take back control of your health insurance? How about you determine what kind of coverage you need? What you want? How about you don't have any copays? How about your deductible shrinks dramatically? How about saving 30 to 60% off of it on your insurance? How about all of this and choosing your doctor, keeping whatever doctor you want and going to the doctor you choose? That is info.healthrevolution.net. And there's no open enrollment. You're not in some weird squeeze play where you've got to, hurry up, figure it out. But when you don't have to have all the coverage and you can do a la carte stuff, it's amazing. You're in charge of your health insurance, not the government. Bingo. That's info.healthrevolution.net. If you are under the age of 65, relatively healthy, right? If you're on COBRA, if you're self-insured or self-employed, I should say, if you're a 26-year-old who just got booted off their parents' insurance, this is for you. Info.healthrevolution.net. I know them. I trust them. These are good people who will not screw you. Bada bing. All right, let's see how you're doing. How is everybody? Hi, Glow. Hi, A Fusco. What's happening? Hi, Ultra. Hello, hello. Hi, Purple Flame. Let's read some of your comments. Sort by newest. Let's see what you got. Good afternoon, Shirley's. Shirley's 58. Hi, Kath Troll. Hi, 9 Cookie Momster. Momster. Yeah, I know. Fitzpatrick. Look for the fall. That's exactly right. She says Fitzpatrick told you. Crossroads we are all experiencing. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. So Spencer Pratt, Republican, reality TV star from several years ago, has his house burned down in the Palisades. His parents' house burns down. They lose everything. 6,000 neighbors, 12 people dead. Karen Bass, doing zero about it, making it hard for people to rebuild. And he's like, screw it. I'm going to run for mayor. And people are like, it's so funny. He's going to run against Karen Bass, the communist who loves Cuba more than America. However, would he win? And so he's up against her and this woman who's a socialist on city council who sucks as much as Karen Bass. So what does Spencer Pratt do? He uses the tools of artificial intelligence to put out a few of his own ads, and he opens the door to creators out there who are not affiliated with his campaign that I can tell, who are putting out their own content, who are like, you know what? I like this dude's ad campaign. I'm going to get in on this, and I'm going to plug in a bunch of stuff that he's talked about during the debates that is demonstrably true. Karen Bass failed the people of Los Angeles, period. How many which ways? How many ways do you want to count? And they plug him into artificial intelligence, whatever machine they have, and bleh, here comes an ad. I want you to hear this one. This is a guy named Dylan X. I believe he's the guy who's behind this one, making these AI-inspired
pro Spencer Pratt for LA mayor ads. And he's turning them into this ongoing series of ads that show what Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom have done to destroy California. Here's the most recent one, dropped over the weekend. It's called California Fried, and it's smart.
Fentanyl coming across the border like a tidal wave. Cartels laughing while the mayor's getting paid. They decriminalize it, call it harm reduction. Now kids dropping dead, that's their new tradition. Needles in the playground, zombies on the block. Politicians in mansions, doors double locked. They say it's a crisis, then fund the same clowns who lost track of millions, now the whole state's drowning. Crack in the boot, no filter, no cap. Y'all been sleeping on the fraud, now it's time to clap back. And what about the dogs, man? Hearts on the floor, strays in the camps, getting kicked, getting towed. Poison bait, hit by cars, no one keeping score. Why they spin on needle vans and open the door? Animal shelters overflowing, crying in the night. But the fire machine keeps running under neon lights. From Sacramento down to Venice Beach sands, it's one big Ponzi, they stealing with both hands. Taxes through the roof, businesses all fleeing, middle class extinct, that's the California dreaming. I went from reality TV to reality checks, exposing the grift, put the state on blast next. They want you quiet, they want you scared, posting pretty filters while the real shit's there. But I ain't budging, Heidi by my side. We see the fraud, stay wild, genocide of pride. Waco, California, California fried. Whole state's a scam, homeless funds vanishing. Don't give a California fried. Whole state's a scam, homeless funds vanishing. Don't give a California fried. Whole state's a scam, homeless funds vanishing. Don't give a California fried. Whole state's a scam, homeless funds vanishing. Don't give a damn. It's Pratt, baby. Woo. The truth hurts. Clean it up or watch it burn.
Clean it up or watch it burn. Look, whether or not you like that kind of music, you understand what's going on. This is a new way of connecting with people, and it's working. How do you know it's working? Well, because on Breitbart.com this morning, socialist Nithya Raman, wife to Modern Family TV producer, picks up Hollywood support in the LA mayor's race. So you've got the Hollywood schlubs who think they're relevant, who think they know how you feel. They who live in gated communities, they who have millions to ride out whatever storm is rolling in. They think their voice, their ideas matter to us. They don't. And for them to stomp on Karen Bass and now skip on over to this socialist Nithya Raman, whose claim to fame is being on the city council, one of the libs on the all-lib city council, totally should qualify her to be mayor, right? This is how you know the campaign is working. Also, this is how you know the machine is gearing up for something wild. All of a sudden, Xavier Becerra, the HHS secretary of suck under Joe Biden, who lost nearly 500,000 migrant children and didn't give a fat rip about any of them. The Democrats want you to believe he's doing great in the governor's race because everybody wants what he's selling. Right. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, my friends. Oops, my pages are stuck together. Hold on, sorry. Let's talk about Ilhan Omar. I just wrote down she's a jerk foreigner who needs to be deported. Enough said. Next. That ad, I think.
Like you said, you don't have to like the music, but what lyrics in there? 100% true.
100% true. It's just, it's wild. It's wild to see what's going on and have a front row seat to it, I think. Hold on, sorry. All right. How are you guys? Did you guys have a nice weekend? You roasting out there? Is it hot where you are?
I wanted to say this because 9 Cookie Momster said this. She said, Brian Fitzpatrick from the Suck from Pennsylvania told you where to look next. Look for false independence on the voter rolls.
They have to tell you what they're going to do next.
100%. 9 Cookie Momster, you are 100% correct. Let's see what else we have going on. Yeah, what do you guys think about those ads? Do you think they're effective? We have, I would imagine, 56. I would imagine the majority of you are, my age to older, maybe within 10 years below me to into your 70s and probably even 80s, right? I think we probably skew in a little older fashion. That's not necessarily the music I'm listening to, but I dig the lyrics and I can totally get down with what's going on. So I'm like, yes, that. And you know who does pay attention to that? My sons. Gen Z, 100%. 100%. It's effective. I think so. Good talk. Anyway.
Everyone's working.
I want to tell you guys about Healthy Cell. What do we want to talk about? Here we go.
You're working next Monday, right?
Yep. Immune Super Boost, ladies and gentlemen. Immune Super Boost. So one of the worst times to be sick is leading into the summer months, right? Where the weather is beautiful and you've got some horrible sinus infection and you're coughing up, right? It's the worst time and yet it always happens. That's why I like what Healthy Cell does. They say, here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you a little packet. It's a microgel pack. You're going to take it every day, right? And you're going to create this bubble of protection around you. How does that work out? Well, let's read about it. I love healthycell.com/Wendy. There's none of their, 15, 18 different formulations. Each one is a supplement in a gel form, it's like 165% more absorbed by your body in the microgel formula than if you were to take a capsule or a pill, right? Your body gets it. It gets into your bloodstream. It gets into your cells. Healthy Cell. Bingo. Healthycell.com/Wendy. Here's what it says. Cell defense is the best self-defense. Support your immune system with a powerful phytonutrient blend of echinacea and, Brock loves this, elderberry. Plus vitamins and minerals in a juicy blackberry flavored microgel. And it says, support a strong, resilient immune system, activate your immune cells, and promote healthy immune response and regulation. That's what this does. So if you're one of those people who's prone to getting ill, right? Seasons change, whatever happens, and you're like, ugh, this is a beautiful thing to keep in your cupboard. Healthycell.com/Wendy. I love what they do. I told you I take 2 a day. I take the Focus and Recall and I take the REM sleep. REM sleep is nice when you need to fall asleep and stay asleep. That's beautiful. Yeah, Ilhan Omar, she's kind of getting fingered now. She thinks that before for the stuff in Minnesota, she's kind of now falling into the middle of the nucleus here. She's now square into the nucleus of this whole mess. I know, shocker alert. What? People from Somalia are ripping us off from Minnesota and the representative is Somalian? Could there possibly be a connection? No, silly goose. Wait a minute. Her family's net worth shot up super quickly, $30 million. Maybe it's because of fraud. No. That's not what's going on. Okay. But MAGA is the national embarrassment. Gotcha. Okay. I'm a little saucy today. Anybody saucy? Mm-hmm. Let's see. What are you guys doing? 151 comments. Our newest. At the minimum, 25% of California's population is illegal aliens. It's a lot. It's a lot. I agree with you. 7 to B 78 Rush. Okay. Oh my gosh. A friend lost 2 houses and everything except her dog and her car. All memories of family for 70 years. Send her all ads is great. And her son knows Spencer. I'm thrilled about his running. Excellent. Good. Thank you for that. Hi, Texas, Martin Smith. Yeah, it does work great. Thank you, Glow. I'm glad that you like it. Welcome back, my friends, to the Wendy Bell Radio program, wendybellradio.com. I know it's catchy how we do that, right? So Ilhan Omar, I mean, I think we should take a step back, float up to 30,000 feet, and look at the ridiculosity of this stupid story that they try to tell us. You know, there's Somalian fraud, right? In a state whose representative is a Somalian. But she's not interested or involved at all in the fraud, right? Right. She hasn't at all benefited from the fraud. Well, it's unfortunate, to say the least, when the wheels fall off of that bus. And the New York Post busted open this story. They got a sit-down interview, jailhouse interview with Amy Bach. She's one of the people implicated, found guilty for her role in that monster feeding our future scam involving COVID-era meals to children that didn't ever happen, right? The kids didn't exist, or the meals didn't exist. Nothing was real. It was all garbage, and the government was just throwing money at them. Oh, yeah, absolutely. People can't possibly feed themselves during COVID because we shut everything down. So we're going to grift off of these many ways, right? Amy Bach was one of the ringleaders of this feeding our future thing. So she sits down with a reporter from the New York Post. They're talking about Ilhan Omar, the congresswoman from Minnesota, who somehow is insulated from all of this. And there are really big questions about her. Is she even an American citizen? I have questions about that. I have questions, and Brock, you've been on this for a while now. The whole idea of the dual citizen congressman or senator, right?
Yeah. Do you need dual citizenship? Isn't your first dual mean? If you're just an American, then your interests are just an American. If you're dual citizenship, it makes me question
where's your loyalty? Yeah, where's your loyalty? Where is it? And then when is it suitcases of cash, a couple million a day, are rolling out in luggage across, through TSA and onto planes in the Minneapolis St. Paul airport, and it's flying to Somalia, and people are like, "I bet you Ilhan Omar is involved." No. Where did you get that idea? That's so off the wall. Like, it's so stupid, right? Well, apparently the walls are closing in on her. Aw. Here's your headline, New York Post. Minnesota squad rep Ilhan Omar knew about $250 million COVID meal fraud and the scheme mastermind claims in this jailhouse interview. I know, it's shocking. But for those of you who are slowly coming out of your cognitive dissonance, allow this to be a frying pan to your face. Boing. Oh, what? They've been ripping us off, and Ilhan Omar's been the conduit, and Keith Ellison and Tim Walz, shut up. I know. The Minnesota mastermind of the state's massive COVID meal fraud claims, squad rep Ilhan Omar was in on the $250 million scam. Amy Bach, founder of nonprofit Feeding Our Future, was convicted in March of last year of conspiracy, bribery, and wire fraud for allegedly helping restaurant owners file fake or inflated claims during the pandemic to steal millions in child nutrition funds from the government. You know who does that? Democrats. Sorry, not sorry. She spoke to the Post by video call this week from Sherburne County Jail, where she's awaiting sentencing. I struggle to believe that she would not have known, Amy Bach said of Ilhan Omar. Dozens of members of Minnesota's Somalia community have been convicted of fraudulently billing the state's Department of Education for millions of meals that they claim they served to low-income children during the COVID outbreak, while pocketing much of the money. Bach has consistently denied knowingly participating in the fraud.
and insisted she tried to warn state officials her group would review the reimbursement paperwork sent by the local restaurants supposed to provide meals, send them out, and then distribute the federal funds to them. The notion that I'm personally responsible for all of it is so frustrating, she says. I'm the only white person out of 80 or 90 individuals charged in the fraud. I'm the only one that doesn't speak the language, she said. Omar was instrumental in loosening the laws that set the stage for the scheme, first by introducing the Meals Act to Congress in March 2020, which allowed the U.S. Department of Agriculture to issue waivers of school meal requirements during the pandemic. The waivers dramatically eased oversight of the federal programs by allowing restaurants to participate without any of the usual site inspections. Who has oversight? Nobody. By design. Omar would personally step in whenever those waivers ran out, allowing the rampant fraud to continue, Bach alleged. Amy Bach is a very interesting person here. She's the one who's going to sing. She's like Nicolas Maduro, if you will, right? I'm not going to go down for this. I'm not going down for being a dirtbag in my country of Venezuela. I've got information about members of Congress, by the way, who helped steal the 2020 election because they tried to do it in 2016. But 63 million Americans, MAGA Americans, you national embarrassments, you voted for Donald Trump and thwarted the plans. But they put the screws to 2020. Nicolas Maduro's got it all. Dominion, bye-bye. Anyway, so here we have Ilhan Omar. Actually, she's being talked about in a reasonable way. I mean, does anybody out there think this woman is clean? Please. Here's Nick Shirley. He's talking about Omar's silence. He's like, look, when innocent people, and this is so true, when innocent people are accused of doing things that they did not do, and those things are illegal, malevolent, or what have you, it's deeply offensive to the innocent person. Don't you talk to me. Don't you talk about me that way. Don't you lump me in with all of these other losers. It's like what Eric Trump did to Jen Psaki over at MS Now this weekend when she claimed that he went on the China trip with Trump because he's got business interests over there. And Eric Trump was deeply offended by that. He's like, I'm going to sue the everlasting liver out of you. How dare you lie about me? Ilhan Omar, so funny. She's so silent about all of this. And Nick Shirley, the young YouTuber with a load of common sense, smells the rat.
She has been so silent about this fraud that it speaks so much as to how involved she is in the fraud. If she had nothing to do with the fraud, she would be able to defend herself. But instead of defending herself, she's gone completely silent, not even trying to work with anybody who's exposing the fraud. She knows that billions and billions of dollars has been lost, but she won't even work with investigators, or she won't even work with local media, and she won't even, they gave her the option to, they gave her a final date to say, give some of the information about the Feeding Our Future fraud that she's involved in. She couldn't give any information. I mean, technically she lost $29 million over the since I exposed her.
So they say, we need documents. Nope, I'm not going to give you anything. And then she's got the Democrats in the state legislature in Minnesota running interference and voting down an order that would have required her to release information. Nope, we're going to shield her. Why ever would that be? It's almost like you all suck. Bang, 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 bang. Here's a Fox News alert. Amy Bach from Feeding Our Futures doesn't just talk about Ilhan Omar. She implicates Tim Walz and Keith Ellison.
Alert also in Minnesota. The convicted ringleader of one of the state's biggest fraud schemes is speaking to Fox News from behind bars. Now, she believes that the scam was no surprise to local Democratic leaders, and she's naming names. She spoke to Alexis McAdams. Hi, Alexis.
Hey, Dana. Yeah, so everywhere you look in the state of Minnesota, right, there seems to be another fraud scam. So this one involves Amy Bach. She's a Minnesota woman convicted of fraud for taking taxpayer money that was meant to feed hungry kids. But listen to this. Bach tells me the real issue here is the state of Minnesota, which she says kept giving scammers your taxpayer money even after they were flagged as fraudsters.
I have to believe that the governor's office and Keith Ellison's office were aware of this. They've said they were involved in helping the FBI. They've said they were made aware. But apparently I'm scary, so they couldn't do anything.
So Bach ran this nonprofit called Feeding Our Future. You might have heard of it. It was one of dozens convicted in this $250 million scam. You can see her mugshot there. Prosecutors say this group set up sham restaurants. They pretended they were making these meals. They got paid by the state for those meals, but they just pocketed the cash. Bach, who's looking at 30 years behind bars, tells me the state signed off on those businesses, not her.
It all went through a process. They were all approved. They were all paid by the state, yet all the fingers are being pointed at me.
And it's not just Bach. Whistleblowers told a congressional committee Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison there ignored warnings for years as millions of dollars and millions were stolen on their watch. Congress is investigating a long list of massive fraud schemes in the state. It's hard to keep up. Prosecutors say it's led to at least $9 billion in fraud, Dana, and counting. Congress also asking why the Attorney General there would meet with a group of Somali fraudsters, which were under FBI investigation in 2021. The group can be heard in an audio clip given to us by Bach's lawyer offering to donate to his campaign if he can help them get their funding flowing again. Ellison denies any wrongdoing here. He slammed Bach in a statement to Fox, calling her a liar and manipulator, adding now she's on a media tour to deflect her guilt onto others instead of finally taking responsibility for this fraud scheme that she ran. So we reached out to Governor Walz too, Dana. He didn't get back to us. House Republicans say it's just getting started. They want to subpoena Walz and Ellison because they say they're responsible for ripping off American taxpayers.
Tim Walz and Keith Ellison are no better than the runaway Mayor Karen Bass. Mayor Bass, why did you spend $400 million on a housing project that didn't do anything to get people who are homeless off the street? Well, instead of answering the question, she's got to be shielded by the reporters at the scene from a heckler so she can get in her Suburban with all of her private security and speed away. If you're not guilty, you don't run, Karen. If you have nothing to hide, Ilhan, you comply with investigators. And when the media call you and ask about you, Governor Walz, Attorney General Ellison, you take the call because when you don't, everybody knows you're guilty as sin. Here's Randy Fine. He's a congressman. He's on Newsmax, and he's like, look, can we get away from this dual citizenship stuff? If you are going to serve in the Congress, if you're going to be a member of Congress or the Senate, you need to be an American, not American first and then Israeli second, not American first and Germans. You're America only. Listen.
A lot of these people hide it. I think one of the things that's extraordinary is we don't even know who the dual citizens are. So we know, for example, in the case of Ilhan Omar, she was born a citizen of Somalia. Unless she chose to give it up, she's still a citizen of Somalia. And certainly the way that she acts and all of the people she helped defraud this country in Minnesota in order to help Somalia would suggest it. Many of her public remarks say she's Somalia first. We don't know. But this would say, again, someone like Ilhan Omar, assuming she's still a citizen of Somalia, would have to give it up. You're either American or Somalian. Look, we don't want foreigners serving in Congress. I don't want French citizens serving in Congress. I don't want Armenian citizens serving in Congress. I don't want Israeli citizens serving in Congress. The only people who should be serving in Congress are American citizens.
Common sense. Feels good, doesn't it? Yeah, I'll say. Did you guys hear what the Department of War did over the weekend? Pete Hegseth dropping a video fixing what Joe Biden and Lloyd Austin got so horribly wrong and reinstated military members who were booted from the military for refusing the jab. And the offer is a good one and well past due. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I love this testimonial about the healthy fat. So we're almost down to this. Holy cow. Dear Wendy, I'm going to try to keep this short but informative. I've been going to the gym and I've been dieting, but I would then negate any progress with the junk I ate on the weekends. Spending my hard-earned money on Dr. Gundry's The Healthy Fat has kept me focused during the weekends now so I don't waste it.
After 6 weeks, I am down 21 pounds and 2 belt loops. I have a long way to go, about 70 pounds total, but this is a great start. Thank you so much, Wendy and Brock. This is it. And, Eric brings up 70 pounds. It's not a coincidence that that's exactly what Dr. Gundry lost when he started drinking his own mix. It's called MCT Wellness, and it does a couple different things to you. It says supports production of ketones for more energy. You're going to notice that. It's got MCT and polyphenols to support brain health. It's a dietary supplement. What this does is it absolutely kills your appetite for several hours. You're not hungry. You're not thinking about it. You're not walking past the vending machine being like, seriously, peanut M&Ms, I love you. You're just not, because you don't need to. That allows you to skip a meal. And if you skip a meal, you're obviously not eating the calories. Fewer calories in, weight comes off. Dr. Gundry lost 70 to 80 pounds. That's crazy. And he says he's seen thousands of people do the same thing. If you're already drinking water, and I know you are, why aren't you putting a scoop of this in it and helping yourself out? I wouldn't tell you about it if I didn't trust Dr. Gundry, but I do. He's brilliant. He's honest. He's successful. I love his videos. And when you go to thehealthyfat.com/Wendy, thehealthyfat.com/Wendy, there's a video for you to watch. And I strongly encourage you to watch the video. It teaches you so much. You're going to be like, wait, I thought that was good for me to eat in the morning. And you're like, dang it. Makes sense. Again, if you're on one of those weird plateaus, weight loss plateaus, and you're like, I need help, this is a great offer. 20% off your first order, thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. Love him. He's great. I love you guys.
224.
We'll get to 2.5. Can you help us get to 2.5? That's a huge milestone. And then anything after 2.5 is just total gravy. Love it. Why am I getting a dangerous site? Okay, well, I wasn't trying to click on something dangerous.
Quit looking at porn.
I know, right? Ugh. No, I'm not a convict in California with an iPad. Stop it, Brock.
That we know of. You could be you were a convict. You did jail time in California.
That's not very nice. I did not do jail time.
What? Were you in a jail?
I was.
Okay, then you did jail time.
No, that's conflating words and
Pops
using
waited
stupid...
and made you sit and stew about what you did.
Worst day of my life.
Made you think about what you did, and listen, you did jail time. You broke the law. You got caught. You did some time.
Look,
and that's all that matters. You're a convict.
I remember when we had a gentleman on the program. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio Show, by the way. We had a gentleman on the program in 2021. And he is from this area, from southwestern land before time, Pennsylvania, where we are. And he reached out to me through email or online in some capacity. We had him on the show, and I don't have a lot of guests. You guys can tell I very rarely have guests on the show. But I had him because he walked me through how the military under Lloyd Austin and Joe Biden treated him when he had questions about the vaccine, about the jab. When he had questions about his own natural immunity because he had gotten sick with COVID. And then this blanket mandate that all branches of the military, without anybody having any kind of an opinion whatsoever, you must fall in line, get in the cattle chute, roll up your sleeve and shut your mouth, or else. And he was an or else. And he was, what is it called? He was discharged from the military, but it was on bad terms. And so he had this black mark on his record, even though he had done nothing wrong except try to make his own mind up. And I was furious. And I have such palpable disdain for that administration and how wrong and disgustingly corrupt everything was. Pete Hegseth came out over the weekend, Secretary of War, and he says, look, if you were part of the group that, I think there's like 8,000 U.S. military members who walked from the military and were dishonorably discharged, if you are one of them, we want you back and we want to make it up to you how we can. Listen.
Joe Biden's mandate to force military service members to take the COVID-19 vaccine was wrongfully and unlawfully applied because the Biden Pentagon refused to grant exemptions for certain medical and faith reasons, not to mention it was an experimental vaccine. As a result, many service members and their families suffered severe hardship, and the department lost trust with the American people. President Trump's executive order on this topic stated that the military unjustly discharged those who refused the vaccine, regardless of their conscience or the years of service given to our nation. He called this what it is, an unfair, overly broad, and completely unnecessary burden on our warriors. Under the leadership of President Trump, the War Department is committed to doing everything we can to make it right, as you know. We want warriors of conscience, warriors who made a principled stand for truth. We want them back in our ranks as soon as possible. We are welcoming back to service patriots who refused the COVID-19 vaccine and were discharged for that reason. If that is you, and you still have the desire to once again wear the cloth of our nation, we are ready to reinstate you with back pay and with benefits.
Back pay and benefits. We want you back, and we're sorry. Now, to the gentleman who put up the MAGA is a national embarrassment sign on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, no. MAGA is fixing the national embarrassment that a stolen election allowed. And people who don't understand that yet are going to be on the losing side of history. The secretary continues, if you don't want to return, we want to unlock your bonuses. We want to give you the benefits you deserve to clean up your record that was needlessly and cruelly tainted by an administration gone wild.
I'm directing the Undersecretary of War for Personnel and Readiness to establish a Department of War COVID-19 Reinstatement and Reconciliation Task Force. The services have them right now. We're establishing one at our level to oversee the entire thing. The task force's goal is to bring back into service all those who desire to continue to serve our country in uniform. Even if you do not intend to return to service, the War Department will provide a path for resolution of unearned bonuses, upgrades to discharge characterizations that will unlock your well-deserved benefits, and removal of adverse documents from service files. Further, I have directed a review of policies and decision-making to ensure that we do not go down this path again. You raised your right hand and swore an oath to serve and protect the Constitution and our nation. You were mistreated by the Biden Pentagon, and we are fixing that injustice.
That is so powerful, I believe. So if you or someone you love, someone you know, was unjustly terminated from the United States military for exercising their freedom of choice, direct them to the Department of War COVID-19 Reinstatement and Reconciliation Task Force. This is what it is. Cleaning up the mess that Joe Biden and the deep state of suck foisted upon not just our country, but on the world. That is MAGA. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is coming up next, and I'm going to tell you it's all about control. The deep state has relied on fake news for decades to cover up what they are doing. I've got a great example next. I think that's why it's burned in me that somebody put up that sign, but it doesn't make me mad that they say that. Like, I don't have some weird visceral angry reaction to it. It proves to me that they're desperate. They're very desperate.
The deep state is desperate. They're worried that the Trump officials are all aware of the election fraud, that we're on it, that they're making changes that are necessary to make sure it doesn't happen again. Because let's face it, the only way Democrats are going to win is if they cheat. That's it. Period. I'm going to go to the bathroom, Brock.
Okay. And for the person who said that you're only a convict if you're convicted, it's my story. I can tell it any way I want. So for that reason, she's a felon. There will be a pet show this weekend. I know it's Monday, but there will be a pet show. I know that for sure. This alien stuff, it's every time you turn around, it's another thing of going, say what? I think it's interesting, and I've never been the type that was X-Files watching. I've never seen Independence Day. I've never seen The Terminator or the movie Aliens. Just nothing that's ever interested me. But I watched 2 documentaries this weekend. One about disclosure and another one with Stephen Greer, Dr. Stephen Greer. So this stuff's becoming interesting to me. So something I've never been interested in before.
What's that?
The alien stuff. I said that I never seen Terminator or the movie Aliens or the one with the blue people.
Oh, it's a great one. Avatar.
Avatar.
That's
Never
one of
saw
my
it.
favorite movies.
Never saw it. Just isn't one of my, as alien as I get.
Never been your
is
jam.
Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just never floated my boat.
Mm-hmm.
X-Files, Independence Day, none of it. This interesting as hell to me.
Very, very interesting.
Very, very
and this
interesting.
whole idea that we're like the least developed in the galaxy. Like whatever galaxies
Look at some of the
there
people and the way
are-
they vote. You can't tell me a fully developed brain votes for Kamala Harris.
Well, and
you can't prove me wrong. Prove me wrong that someone that's that TDS demented has a fully developed brain. When you think it's okay to cut body parts off of children,
Stop it.
You can't tell me you're fully developed. The caveman that had fire in a club was more
Dragging
developed.
women around with the hair.
Yeah. Me man, you woman, you cook, me hunt, is more developed than Democrats.
That system works, by the way.
Yeah, it does work. They all ate.
I put in AI this, Brock, in Perplexity, which is very liberal, which pisses me off, but whatever. How is collagen good for a woman over age 50? Collagen can help a woman over 50 mostly by supporting skin, joints, and bone health, but the effects are usually modest and gradual rather than dramatic. Skin studies suggest collagen can improve hydration, elasticity, and sometimes reduce wrinkles. Joints, it may help with joint comfort, stiffness, and mobility in older adults. Bones, some research in postmenopausal women found improved bone mineral density after daily collagen peptides for a year. Why it matters after 50. And I'm only talking for us chicks. Like, dudes, you're on your own. No, just kidding. This is good for you too. Estrogen declines after menopause. It's linked to faster collagen loss, which can affect skin thickness, right? When you have like super thin skin, firmness and dryness. That's why collagen is often marketed to women in midlife and beyond. Okay, so it sounds like something that's super good for you, but you have to give it time. Well, if you have to give it time, thank goodness it's not expensive. Thank goodness we're hooked up with Native Path, and they're giving us up to 45% off their collagen peptides. And to give you an idea of how much we like it, that's where we are, right? getnativepath.com/Wendy. I put a scoop of it in with the Dr. Gundry's health, the drink mix. It absorbs immediately or dissolves immediately. It doesn't taste like anything. So it's not like, it's easy. 10 grams, up to 45% off. Collagen peptides. Getnativepath.com/Wendy. It's just one of those, why not? Like, why not? It's affordable. It's easy. There aren't any side effects. Why not? I want literally, and I know it sounds dippy, but I was noticing it here. This is where women start getting that. Well, I mean, we all do, but not so much men. Women get that weird, and then it's like, I don't want that. And so I started drinking collagen peptides, and I love it. It's been a couple months. I think I can tell. And there's no reason for me not to. Right? It's not like all of a sudden my estrogen and collagen are going to get good when I get in my 60s. Getnativepath.com/Wendy. There you go. This, I kind of like this story. It's just kind of rando, but I think it's easy to forget where we've been with all of the BS stories that they've tried to foist upon us. So we're going to give you a little refresher. Let's see how many comments we have. 177 comments. Let's go. 2.35. Let's hit 25 rumbles.
New open alert.
All right. Did you listen to it?
No.
Oh.
I didn't have it.
That's rolling the dice.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you have to.
Is it Wendy?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
Hailing frequencies open.
This is the United Earthship Enterprise. We convey greetings and await your reply. What is it, Mr. Bailey?
A message coming over my navigation beam.
People of the planet Earth, we want to hear the Wendy Bell radio program.
I think that this is...
No, the radio program with Wendy Bell.
Such a, I think that this is a...
We just want to hear the Wendy Bell radio program.
This is, of course, a very long-standing...
Did you understand a word of that?
Our universal translators must be malfunctioning. Oh, screw this. If this is the best they have to offer, destroy them.
3 hours of gold, truth, and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Well, a new open for you today to kind of hint at some new alien chat coming up in the second half hour of this segment. We're so happy you're here. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio Show. Okay, so let's talk about this. I stumbled upon a list on X today, and it really got me thinking about how much we've been lied to and how little we really know about how much we've been lied to. Because what we know is already mind-bendingly ridiculous. But when we find out, and someday, like that's why I said today's title of the show, we want the truth. We want the truth. We want the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help us, God. Give us the truth. Let us know so we know who we can trust and who we cannot. And do I think we're going to get everything? No. But I think we're going to get more than we would have ever had if Kamala Harris got. Can you imagine had she won? It would have been over. And so I wanted to play some stuff for you. The deep state has relied on fake news for decades to essentially cover up what they're doing and then to spin it to blame innocent people for what they're really doing. This is what's going on in Minnesota right now. So the Minnesota, Attorney General Keith Ellison, he's going to blame Amy Bach, the woman from Feeding Our Futures, who's been convicted of fraud, right? She's going to say from jail, these people knew what was going on. Don't try to make me the lone bad actor here. All of these folks knew. And if you check their finances, you might enjoy what you find. Keith Ellison needs Amy Buck shut up and in prison. Stop talking. We don't need people to know. So they spin all of these stories around it, right? And if racism doesn't work to put you in a different path, they'll find something else. This is the play. It's been the play for years. Well, Devin Nunes was speaking to Maria Bartiromo, and he was talking about this 10-year grand conspiracy that's being investigated. This is why Todd Blanche doesn't have all of the answers right now, because they're putting together, I think, what's going to be a pretty giant net. And it's all to derail and to destroy President Trump. But it was all about one very specific thing. And I've not heard anybody say that the whole reason they went after President Trump, the whole reason they created Russia, the whole reason this sordid decade of lies has happened to us was to hide one very specific thing for one very specific person. Here's Devin Nunes.
This is a conspiracy that's gone on for a decade. And remember, you mentioned about Clinton trying to win, but what it really was about was covering up for her missing emails. That's what it originates with. And then it goes into the ICA that you just talked about. It goes into the Mueller witch hunt. It goes into the Ukraine impeachment hoax. It goes all the way, we can just fast forward, to the raid at Mar-a-Lago. So the victim in this is President Trump, his family, his associates, campaign members.
Nunes told me he believes more charges are coming against Comey and others, perhaps John Brennan, of conspiracy over a 10-year period.
So let's go back to the beginning of that. Devin Nunes alleges that this is all because of Hillary Clinton's private email, that private server she had somewhere in her stupid house, right? Where she's like, what? Did I wipe it with a cloth? Did I break it with a hand? Like, she was so ridiculous in why she needed this server. Oh, I'm just talking about Chelsea's wedding, or I talk about yoga, or I share recipes there with my friends. It's no big deal. Well, that's not exactly even remotely true. You know as well as I, because you have a functioning brainstem, that in 2015-16, Hillary Clinton thought she was going to have her time. Look, I've been married to this louse of a cheater, Bill Clinton, for all these years. You think I'm not going to ride this one and get into the Oval Office myself? It's my time. I deserve this, right? And so basically people thought for sure, there's no way Donald Trump, some reality guy, some real estate guy, is going to ride in here and win the presidency. That's preposterous. The polls are like, no way, 95% chance Hillary Clinton. So all these foreign governments are sending money to what? That's right, the Clinton Crime Family Foundation. And it ballooned to be this like $400 million monolith of what exactly? Influence peddling is exactly what it is. Of course, everybody knows this, right? And it was because of hiding the email scandal, right, that this entire grand conspiracy piled onto Donald Trump. And when Russia didn't work, then the Steele dossier had to work. Oh, he wants to go to a hotel the Obamas went to and have hookers urinate on him, right? If that wasn't enough, oh, it's this. And this is where we are today. It's very interesting. But think about all of the lies. Trump working for Russia turned out to be a hoax. Steele dossier, total hoax. The Bubba Wallace noose mumbo jumbo, that was a hoax. Trump locking kids in cages, a hoax. Then there was the Border Patrol whipping the Haitians at the border. Trump's quid pro quo turned out to be a hoax too. The Kurds being slaughtered at the border after Trump's Syrian troop removal was a hoax. Him removing a bust of MLK from the Oval Office. Yeah, that was a hoax. What did they not lie to you about? Jussie Smollett being attacked by racist Trump supporters. This is MAGA country, right? Right. We all knew it. Trump snubbing a boy in a wheelchair. Hydroxychloroquine being too dangerous for people to try. It's horse pace. Trump calling neo-Nazis very fine people. The Covington Catholic MAGA kids attacking a poor old Native American. All hoaxes. Remember, Trump told people to drink bleach? Oh, yeah, no, he didn't. That was a hoax. Governor Whitmer's kidnapping plot, Hunter Biden's laptop being Russian disinformation, Trump calling Mexicans animals, all freaking hoaxes. What do they tell you on the left that is true? Right? They didn't tell you the truth about MAGA. They didn't tell you the truth about January 6th. They didn't tell you the truth about anything. Certainly nothing about Joe Biden. Oh, he's phenomenal. He's in the back doing backflips. I couldn't believe it that a 79-year-old man could do a handstand, but he can. Meanwhile, you and I are like the dudes in a coma. They trot him out and the Easter Bunny's got to put him on his spot or he'll fall or walk into the bushes. Really? All a ridiculous hoax. Well, this grand conspiracy takes us back to 1997. There was a conspiracy theorist by the name of Bill Cooper. Bill Cooper was, this is his Wikipedia entry. It says he was an American conspiracy theorist, a radio broadcaster, and an author. He promoted many fringe claims, including global conspiracies and extraterrestrial involvement. And oddly, he was killed in 2001 during some confrontation with sheriff's deputies. But we found this thing that he said back in 1997, like what, 30 years ago. Let's listen into what he was warning about, and let's see how weird and wild this guy was.
Now, I'm going to just give you a little demonstration of the degree of control that is already in effect in this country concerning communications. Now, if you're smart, you know that if you turn the dial on your radio and on your TV set and on every news story, it has the same slant in the same words, and it's the same stories. You know that the news and the media are controlled. If you don't, you're not playing with a full deck of cards. Okay? It is absolutely absurd to believe that all these different networks, news stations, newspapers, and radio stations are all owned by different people, yet they all carry the exact same stories every day, worded in the exact same way, with the same agenda and the same slant. You see, if they were all separate and independent, that could never happen in a million years, because no two people ever attach the same importance to the same event or the same slant on the same story unless they're handed it.
100%. And I've told you the story when I was still in television news and there was a story I was supposed to be reading, and the producer who allegedly wrote it, who does not write like this, wrote something, and I was like, what? Where did this come from? So I highlighted a section of the copy said producer reportedly wrote, and I put it into the Wayback Machine, and it chirped it out to me, sent by the Associated Press, verbatim cut, ripped and read from the Associated Press. And I was supposed to read this mumbo jumbo garbage to the people of Pittsburgh. And I went into the general manager's office and I said, sir, this is garbage. Why are we reading garbage from the Associated Press? And he said, shut up and read the prompter. Do you think I knew then? Yeah. Bill Cooper, you were right, my man. Rest in peace. He was right, as they so often are. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, you know, President Trump has offered the IRS this sweetheart of a deal. In fact, it might be a deal they cannot refuse. Why? Next. Isn't it funny when these people, oh, he's a conspiracy theorist, he's an agitator, he's a this. I want every conspiracy theorist on my side, because you know what? Their track record right now is like second to none. Everything the left tells you has turned out to be garbage. Everything conspiracy theorists tell you, you're like, I'm sorry, how are you guys wrong? And there were other things. Remember the Kavanaugh rape and the COVID lab leak, and Trump saved nuclear secrets at Mar-a-Lago, and the Muslim travel ban and the ghost of Kiev, and how about the austere religious scholar, and that Trump overfed the koi fish in Japan, right? If you get vaccinated, you won't catch COVID. Cloth masks prevent it. Trump's tax cuts only benefited the rich. Like, what have they said to you that's been true? That Build Back Better, the tax, they'll pay for itself, right?
It's amazing that I'm as composed as I am on a regular basis when I'd probably want to punch him all and throw him down the stairs. Ivermectin, it's horse paste. Mostly peaceful protests. Right?
Who said protests had to be peaceful?
Some of this stuff is burned into my brain. I can't remember what I had for breakfast, but I can tell you, oh yeah, verbatim, I can tell you what these clowns said to us. All right, let's talk about Ireland Contracting, 1-800-NEW-ROOF. IrelandContracting.com. I have used Ireland Contracting now many times. Yes, they are a sponsor of this program. Yes, they pay me to talk about them and what they do. But yes, I have used them as my home exterior rebuilding contractor multiple times. Multiple times. The new roof, the new skylights, magnificent. All the electrical stuff, the number of times Gary has been on my roof and he's like, seriously, babe, you've got to get a new roof. You can't piece this together anymore. I trust him. He limped me along for a couple years. He patched stuff and then he was finally like, you can't keep patching this. It's got to be fixed. And I'm like, damn it. I believe him implicitly. I still got a second opinion, which was $8,000 more than Gary's. And he didn't give me some friends and family discount. It is what it is. Labor costs money. Supplies cost money. Here's the cost. There's no wiggle room. It's not like, well, maybe. He's like, here you go. Okay. I trust you. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. That's the way it goes, baby. So there was I probably don't have time to tell you, do I?
You have 1 minute.
So there was a mosquito buzzing around me this morning and it was driving me nuts. And I wish I had my sniper mosquito spray. That's exactly what it was. It's so freaking annoying. And Brock's like, oh, if you sprayed it on, you'd smell like garlic. I'm like, I'll take garlic any day. Organic bug killers. How about that? Organic insecticides. How about hospital grade disinfectant? An amazing deodorizer, all at your fingertips. Disinfectwithsniper.com. Everything on that site we enjoy, from the Hunt Chef spices to the American flag celebrating the 250th anniversary of this country, all of the Sniper products, all of the organic fertilizers and foods for your azaleas and your rhodis and your roses. Disinfectwithsniper.com. It is worth it. It is worth it. It is worth it. Everything. Like, what don't we like there? Right?
I like it all.
I love it all. Hey. Apparently, and this is one of those things, I think that there's going to be a segment of the population that cannot be saved. Whatever that percentage is, it exists. And that's too bad, but I can't worry about these people. There will be a percentage of the people now who have been fed all of the fake news and they've gobbled it up, hook, line, and sinker, who are going to begin to see the light. And they're going to realize what this president has done to unwind so much of the garbage, the landmines that were planted by Biden's administration. The many ways in which we were lied to, we were stolen from, we were deceived. I mean, stealing an election and then creating an insurrection to cover it up is as disgusting as it gets. President Trump is keenly aware of the people who are caught in that, who showed up at the Capitol that day and did not riot. I got caught in a trap. And so the president says to the IRS, look, I'm going to drop my $10 billion lawsuit against you because you guys under the Biden administration leaked my tax returns, right? My tax returns before we ran for office again. You leaked them. I'll drop it. $10 billion. If you create a fund to compensate victims of Biden administration abuses. This is very interesting.
ABC News with the report. It's interesting who they find as their sources to chat with. You'll hear Democrat Jamie Raskin. You'll hear Democrat pretending to be a Republican Brian Fitzpatrick in this interview, which is curious. Listen.
Tonight, President Trump's $10 billion lawsuit against the IRS may soon be dropped, but sources tell ABC News only as part of a deal now raising new and legal political questions. The lawsuit stems from the leak of some of his tax returns in 2019 and 2020 by a government contractor who pled guilty in 2023. And now sources say the president is preparing to drop the $10 billion lawsuit in exchange for the creation of a fund that would compensate his allies who claim they were targeted by the, quote, weaponized Biden Justice Department.
Donald Trump is setting up a $1.7 billion political slush fund for the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and his other political lieutenants and hangers-on.
ABC News learning the fund would be called the President Donald J. Trump Truth and Justice Commission and funded to the tune of $1.776 billion of taxpayer money. That number a reference to the nation's founding. Sources say the commission would be under no obligation to disclose the process of awarding any compensation. Trump would not be personally eligible to receive payments, but sources say entities associated with him would be, as would the 1,600 individuals charged in the January 6th Capitol attack that Trump pardoned his first day in office last year. Even some Republican lawmakers appearing shocked.
I don't even know how that's allowable to happen.
Sources saying this deal came together after the Justice Department and the White House abandoned a months-long effort to try to pay Trump directly. Democratic lawmakers are now calling on Congress to pass legislation to restrict the use of taxpayer dollars for the proposed compensation fund.
Oh, you're worried about taxpayer dollars going to the 1,600 people who were charged in connection with January 6th to make them eligible for some kind of compensation for what they were financially, physically, and emotionally dragged through. But you're not worried about the $9 billion in fraud in Minnesota or Ilhan Omar's sudden explosion of $30 million in personal wealth. And you know that the story is very curious and interesting. The president says, I will drop a $10 billion lawsuit I had filed against the IRS if instead we take 1/10 of it, 1.77 or 1/5 of it, whatever it is, $1.776 billion for 1776. And we disperse that to the people in my orbit who were targeted, harassed, stalked, arrested, prosecuted, and imprisoned by a lunatic system that was worried about covering its tracks. And lo and behold, the woman whose email server and her nefarious stuff with the crime family syndicate, right, is the one who tweets this out. Hillary Clinton, this is what she just put out. Trump didn't just pardon his followers who stormed the U.S. Capitol. He's now set them up for payments through a slush fund he created to reward his allies out of your tax dollars. You could not make this up. Really? Oh, Hillary, what are you worried about, sweetness? And by the way, those protesters didn't storm the Capitol Hill. If you paid attention to any of the video that Nancy Pelosi so desperately wanted to put away for 50 years, you would have seen Capitol police officers like Michael Fanone, the lying fake that he is, moving the barricades out of the way, opening the doors. Does that sound like don't come in? Or maybe Michael Fanone might have even been one of the 9 Capitol police officers who gave Jacob Chansley, the bare-chested QAnon shaman, his own private tour of the Senate chambers, for whom he prayed, right? Oh, Hillary, poor thing. Bless your heart. What a turd. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, the Trump administration dropping more UFO files. This is a very intriguing update for you. Do not miss it next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. A timely tweet there. Thank you, Brock. All right, bloodflow7.com, maybe the best for last. Bloodflow7.com. I'm going to tell you something.
I did not take my Blood Flow 7 on Friday. I forgot it when Joe and I went to Bedford, so I didn't take it Saturday. And I forgot it on Sunday, and I didn't take it Sunday. And you know what happened? I slept like garbage all weekend long. I'm going to tell you, nitric oxide is the secret sauce of bloodflow7.com/Wendy. 30% off, less than $1 a day. What does nitric oxide do? Opens up your blood vessels so more blood flows through. What does that do for you? Focus and clarity, more blood to your brain. Hello? More blood to your heart. People like my husband, who's a cardiologist, folks who have blockages that don't get enough blood to their heart. They look awful. They can't move very fast. They can't walk very far. They're exhausted easily. Amazing what happens when he's able to put in a stent, bust up whatever plaque is blocking it so the blood flows through. It's almost an immediate feeling to the patient on the table. Oh, gosh. bloodflow7.com/Wendy. It is a game changer. And oh yeah, added side effect, you sleep like a boulder. Just going to say bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Don't fart around with it. Get it. It's okay. Just going to tell you that's where it is.
I see on X. I saw it multiple places, but I don't know where. I can't find it in any of the other, like, you see it from People. You don't see it from like Town Hall or Liberty Daily. Sources report that President Trump has prepared a speech confirming the existence of extraterrestrial life. President Trump reportedly has a speech detailing extraterrestrial life and spacecraft, and has stated that he is waiting for the right moment to deliver it.
Yeah, I could see it. So, but
today is the right time.
Right.
Tomorrow is the right time.
Do you remember?
Yesterday was the right time.
Do you remember when there was that early Chinese spy balloon? There's 4 different kinds of extraterrestrials. And then all of a sudden over the weekend, what is there, Brock? There's pictures of 4 different kinds of extraterrestrials. And you're like, they're trying to set the table gingerly. And they're starting with a few little morsels, and then they'll give you some mashed potatoes, and then they'll get some meat, and then they'll get gravy all over it. And then you're like, okay, now we know it's coming.
I think it's you almost desensitize people to hearing it. So they're like, what? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can see that. All right, I have to have the camera. There we go. It changes colors and whatnot. So I think the 17, so Trump is a king. Trump is a dictator. He's saying, I'm going to drop a $10 billion lawsuit that I personally would benefit from, even though you guys screwed me over and tried to hurt me and ruin my chances to run for re-election. I'm going to drop that in favor of a smaller amount going to these people who got boned because they knew the truth. They supported me. Kings don't do that. Kings do what Iran does and doesn't care. They don't care about their people, their suffering, or what have you. So everybody knows
two
that.
things. One,
so simple.
Congress has a slush fund for sexual assault and harassment.
Yes.
So whatever. And you're worried about taxpayer money. You didn't worry how much you wasted for your sham January 6th trial about it all. How much money did you people waste there?
Did you
stop talking to me about wasting money, because that's all you people do.
I don't disagree. Everything is an opportunity to grift. Everything is a moneymaker. Everything, it's not about you. It's about using you so that they can stay in power and get wealthy. That's it. That's how you have 73 senators out of 100 who are millionaires. When the average percentage in America, it's like 10%, less than 10%. But in the Senate, it's 73%. However, is that possible?
I'm in the 90th percentile.
How's that possible? It's like such a mystery to me. Kelly Morgan at Morgane's Fitness, she's like, don't worry about it. If you've gotten fat, if you don't know what your abs feel like, you certainly haven't seen them for years. You've never stepped into a gym and you don't know how to lift weights. That's okay. Actually, that's probably better. It's better for you. Because in 90 days, Kelly says she's going to get you in shape, losing inches, losing fat, losing weight. 90 days. It's called 90 Ignite. You don't have to be in southwestern Pennsylvania or central Pennsylvania to do it. You can be at home, and they show you videos of them doing the exercises that you need to do 3-4 times a week. And then your side of the bargain is you don't eat like a fatty bobalatti and you get your steps in and you drink your water that's loaded with collagen and MCT wellness, right? That's your job. And it works. And the before and after pictures we've seen in 3 months. It's just like, what? It's crazy. So Morgainz Fitness, MORGAINZ fitness.com. Oh.
I'm just going to say wow to that. Why didn't he send me that? Keep making me find it on Twitter or X. I feel cheated. He's getting an angry text later.
He's talking about Sean. We've slow walked in a little bit of a way, this whole UFO files, alien, whatever you want to call it. And we've been giving you more and more evidence, listening to various congressmen from Eric Burleson to Tim Burchett to Anna Paulina Luna, Matt Gaetz, even telling us, look, don't put your head in the sand. Don't bury it. You got to be awake. You got to be alert because aliens are real and we have evidence. Well, moments ago, our friend Sean Parnell, who is the spokesman for the Pentagon and the Department of War, drops this information, breaking. He says more than 1 billion users around the world, 1 billion, have visited war.gov/UFO. The second release of Alien Files is actively being processed for publication on the site. More to come soon. And Brock, you just saw something, a bit of an update on your X account. It shows that Trump has been briefed. He has the details, and now he's what? In process of when he's going to drop it?
Apparently, he has a speech already written.
Oh.
And he is waiting for the right time to reveal it.
It's
so
now.
Yesterday.
How about now?
How about yesterday?
I want to read you this. It is from dailystar.co.uk. Here's the title. And it's a little salacious. It's a little wild, but I think there's a lot of facts here for you. FBI's secret UFO files expose terrifying messages from outer space in chilling warning. All right, I'm going to tell you what it says. You decide what you think. Declassified FBI files claim aliens view humans as the lowest forms of life as the Trump administration drops a bombshell haul of secret UFO files. All right? Bombshell FBI documents have laid bare a series of blood-curdling warnings. That's where I say it's a little salacious, right? From extraterrestrials who are claimed to view the human race as the lowest form of life in the universe. The revelations come as part of a massive UFO data dump ordered by the Trump administration, sparking excitement among truth seekers and paranormal investigators. The release features a mountain of previously classified memos, witness testimonies, and eerie footage of reported UFO sightings. One particularly haunting FBI memo recounts a 1955 interrogation involving the Detroit Flying Saucer Club. According to the files, club member Randall Cox
told federal agents that aliens had been beaming messages to Earth with a grim assessment of our species. All right. The memo says the beings claimed every other planet in the galaxy had successfully conquered outer space, leaving Earth trailing behind in the cosmic race. Even more insulting, Cox from this Detroit Flying Saucer Club informed investigators that these entities view humans as the lowest form of universal existence. I know that's a big pick-me-up, isn't it? The documents also suggest the celestial visitors were reportedly prepping the public for a full-scale arrival. It states, quote, he feels the purpose of contacts with Earth is limited at this time to preparing people to receive landings from outer space. Well, the FBI was concerned enough to investigate whether the bizarre reports posed a threat to national security. However, the documents describe the saucers as being friendly to the U.S. Well, I got that going for us, I guess. The file also details a meeting between Cox and agents inside an FBI vehicle on January 11th, 1955. Say what? Cox claimed a technician at Sandia Air Force Base, a guy named John Fry, had successfully piloted a saucer from New Mexico to New York City in a mind-blowing 30 minutes. While Cox was a prominent figure in the UFO community, his associate, John Hoffman, who was a World War II veteran, was viewed more skeptically by the Bureau. Agents noted Hoffman had been carried beyond the realm of scientific fact into that of possible scientific fiction. And the FBI noted a striking similarity between Cox's claims and those of a woman named Dorothy Martin, a notorious 1950s cult leader. Martin claimed she was in telepathic contact with the Guardians, who warned that a large flood would wipe out the Earth on December 21st, 1954. Who knew she went into fail upwards into the UN's Climate Council? When the world didn't end, Martin claimed that the planet had been spared due to her followers' light and faith. And the incident remains a textbook case for psychologists studying cognitive dissonance, the refusal to let go of a belief even when proven wrong. It's very applicable to a lot of circumstances that we've been talking about today. And then it says the latest declassification was spearheaded by Secretary of War Pete Hegseth under the direction of President Trump. Tennessee Representative Tim Burchett took to X to praise the move, taking a swipe at the deep state for previously denying the files existed. Burchett said, the first drop will be big, but in comparison to what is coming, they will be a drop in the bucket. I would say, holy crap is coming. Hegseth promised unprecedented transparency moving forward, hinting that this terrifying look into the FBI's X files is only the beginning. Now, I'm not so sure I'm believing in terrifying files. I don't know about that. But I do enjoy the article talking about cognitive dissonance and this refusal to let go of a strongly held belief, even when contrary evidence arises. It's very applicable to that group of the folks I say will not be saved. Because no matter how much you and I know, no matter how much you and I question and how much truth you and I dig for, these people are happy with the narrative. Just feed me the narrative and I'm happy. Well, I want you to hear this. Eric Burleson is now saying he wants private conversations with some of these contractors who probably hold the keys to more of the UFO files than even the president. Benny Johnson and Matt Gaetz is on with him over the weekend, and he says, look, the president says he wants to declassify all of the stuff. Benny's saying this to Matt Gaetz, former rep, you know him. And he says, you are a member of the Armed Services Committee. You know all of this top-level secret clearance stuff. What do you think we will learn if and when the president actually does drop all of this on us? Listen.
Okay, so there's classified stuff that you've seen that you can't talk about. What if that was declassified? Trump says he's going to declassify it. What if that was declassified? What would happen with the American public?
I don't think I've seen probably some of the most interesting stuff to declassify. Again, I think that if the things I've seen were declassified, the public's questions would be around how this technology exists that can do some of these things. And if we don't have it, and if we don't believe anyone else on Earth has it, where do we think it came from? I think those would be the questions.
So it's like space age technology that would break our brains.
It would not be anything that exists on Earth.
And you've seen that in classified settings.
I've seen things in classified settings that are not explainable with the technology we know is available. And I'm pretty well versed in that. I was on the Armed Services Committee for 8 years. I sat on the Emerging Threats Subcommittee that oversaw everything going on in cyberspace, had access to DARPA and the projects they were working on, had special compartmentalized clearance that is above the clearance of just a regular congressional briefing. Wow. And so I even got to see things that other members of Congress didn't get to see that weren't on the Armed Services Committee.
So Eric Burlison has said, and so has Tim Burchett, members of Congress who are part of this transparency, like, let's dig into the government secrets with Anna Paulina Luna. And they believe that there are private entities controlling this information beyond what the government knows, and what the president knows. And so Eric Burlison was saying, if you want to hide something, you really want to hide something from Congress, you don't put it in a government file cabinet. You hand it to a private contractor, right? That's why his investigation, he wants these private contractors now to come in. MIT Lincoln Laboratory, one of the oldest federally funded research and development centers in the country. He wants these guys to come in and testify before Congress. We'll see what happens, but we did set you up with Werner von Braun with his warning about all of the lies about space weapons and all this stuff. He's like, look, first they're going to drop on you that there's a Cold War threat. Well, we've been through that. Then there's going to be these terrorists from other countries. Well, we've had that. And then there's going to be an asteroid that comes. And then there's going to be space aliens. Watch out. Well, it's so funny because there was a Fox News alert over the weekend, and I caught this. Did you guys catch this? Let's go.
A recently discovered asteroid is going to make its closest ever approach to Earth on Monday. Asteroid 2026 JH2 was discovered in early May by NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory.
Yeah, okay. So we're going to take our time with this one. It's going to pass, get this, only 56,000 miles from Earth. That's about a quarter of the distance between the Earth and the moon.
Don't you just feel dumb? I just feel dumb. Sometimes I do feel like the alleged aliens who are so disappointed in our society. They're like, you guys are the dumbest people out there. And everybody else in the galaxies far, far and away have already jumped into outer space and done all this other stuff. What are you guys doing? Right? I want to know, why were there no pictures? Why was there nothing from the dark side of the moon from the NASA astronauts who went on that amazingly historic trip a couple months ago? It was like last month, right? It seemed like a million years ago. Why did all of a sudden their equipment stopped working? Or, wow, nobody heard anything. There's no pictures of anything. It's dark. We don't see anything. Really? Really? I'm going to say, I don't know if I believe you. I don't know if I believe, but I'm probably just being conspiracy theorist, but When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, let's wrap it up with a bow, friends, next.
We'll see.
I
don't know.
I'm going to piss a lot of people off.
I'm open to whatever they want to drop. Let's see.
I'm going to go there and shoot your hatred into the comments so I can read it later.
Ooh. Way to point, whore. Good, good boy.
Thanks.
Who's a good boy?
So I believe in God.
Yeah.
I can't show you. I can't point you.
Can't shake his hand.
I can't introduce you to him. I can read the word of God. I can go to church. I can do all this. But that I'm just supposed to believe blindly, which I do. But some of you will not even entertain that there's possibilities of aliens out there, and I just don't understand it.
Yeah, if you're one of them, tell us why. I'd love to hear
like I don't
what
understand.
you think.
You can hate on me, I don't care.
I'll read them in the show if you get them in.
Yeah, I just don't understand how the not being able to say there's something I don't know. I believe in God. I can't see him. I can attribute things to God, but I can't see it. But I'm supposed to believe that there is nothing else out there. Like, I don't understand from a logical perspective of saying yes to this and absolutely 100% no to this. Like, it doesn't compute with me, because there are a ton of things I don't know. I know the things I don't know probably outweigh the things I know by a million.
Oh, God damn.
So like, I don't understand the math to get the plane in the air. So for you to tell me zero, negative gravity, whatever, I'm just going to have to sometimes say there's things out there that I don't know. And to close my mind off to something that could be or could not be, I'll find out if there's a definitive God when I take my last breath. And hopefully I did my share on Earth to be able to confirm that there is one, but to say something that absolutely does not exist. I
don't you be telling Brock that he's an intelligent man. I'll ban you.
What?
I will ban you.
I find that hard to believe that somebody said
blowing
that.
Smoke up your skirt.
Yeah, I'm not wearing a skirt, but
Stephen G, do better, baby. Brock, you are an intelligent man. Open minds are willing to consider. I agree.
It's anything.
I agree. I want to know. By the way, I'm willing to. I have not, and it sounds like I am a sycophant of this president. I believe in this president. But I don't think he's infallible. I don't think he's some perfect guy, and he's the new Messiah. I believe his heart is in the right place.
Okay. So telling me, and I'm not harping on it. See Genesis chapter 6, Brock. Okay, I'm gonna reminder: leave your hate in the comment section so I can read it later.
Not in the Rumble side, but
not in the Rumble side.
Yeah.
In the comment section, I want to read your hate later, because you will all hate me for this. So, who wrote the Bible? You can tell me it's the Word of God.
Yeah,
but someone translated.
It was a reporter.
And someone translated it, not into English.
Yeah.
So if they mess up one word,
everything can be manipulated,
so like
taken out of context.
Once again, I can believe things, and you could tell me to go read the Bible I have. However, dot.
Number one, when I was talking about a weekend trip my husband and I took to Bedford, Pennsylvania to go golfing and to get away, just the two of us. It's going to be a busy week. The twins graduate on Friday from high school. Things are going to get different. And so it was nice to get away. And as we get on the turnpike to head home on Sunday morning, there's that sign, MAGA. Big and beautiful over the interstate. It's just glorious. And I smiled. And then I pulled up past to go and buy it, and it says MAGA, a national embarrassment. And I laughed out loud. There's nothing I am embarrassed about being a conservative. I'm not at all embarrassed about putting out my American flag. I'm not at all embarrassed about the sign. It's heavy as stones. Big metal sign in the front yard that says, "We back the blue." I'm not at all embarrassed about supporting President Trump, about believing in the agenda. I agree with what he's trying to do, and I'm embarrassed for anybody who needs to bury their heads in the sand. because they're unwilling to admit that there could be a possibility that they've been scammed. I don't like being scammed. I don't like being told something is one way and then finding out it's not. I don't like being lied to. And I sure as hell don't like people who steal from the American people and make decisions that are bad for us and our families and the fabric of this great nation to protect themselves, to stay in power, or to stay insulated from the wheels of justice. I think MAGA, make America great again. If you can't get behind that idea, because those weird people over on the right, those insurrectionists, those people who think Donald Trump, he will go down as the greatest president in my lifetime, and probably even beyond that, whether it's this century or what have you. Because he dared to do what others said they would do, but never did. Donald Trump does what he says he's going to do. And that is terrifying for the deep state. I wish I could have a conversation like this with my sister. I wish I could say, let's both check our emotions as we can at the door. Let's have an honest conversation about what we believe, what we think is going on, and let's chat about it. But I don't think that's possible. And it makes me very sad. Because from here on out, the relationship that we have, and I will love her every day of my life, but it's like having a weight on our relationship. We will always have to dance around the edges. We'll never be able to get into the middle of it because any conversation becomes a visceral reaction. You know what? If anybody in America has a right to have a visceral reaction, it's anybody who didn't fall for the smokescreen garbage of 2020 and then live to pay the price, whether it be by economic nightmares, Joe Biden sitting in his hyperbaric chamber, them lying about what was going on, the flood of alien humanity, many people, dark, dirty, evil monsters invited into this country, and then the way in which they fall over themselves to support the offenders, to support those who hurt us. It's like opposite day every day. Everything that you would do, they did opposite. Why? Does Donald Trump represent that much of an existential threat to the deep state apparatus that they would be willing to poison you and even kill you for that story to stick? Yes. Maybe that is why, if aliens are real and they are communicating and they have with us for decades, maybe that's why they finger wagged us. Maybe that's why they're like, wake the hell up, figure it out, people, because everybody else here in the cosmos, we're all out here waiting for you guys to stop it already. But we haven't. This president stopping Iran from having a nuclear weapon was the most important thing that has happened in this country for our children and for our grandchildren. And I believe this story will get out, and it will connect to this extraterrestrial world out there, and it will show you a warning about the threat of us here on Earth killing each other before we can realize what actually is on the dark side of the moon. MAGA, yes, 100%, unabashed, unashamed, unafraid. Make America great again. Thanks for being a part of the program. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.